Faraz Jaka now with a 9-4 of hearts. Quickly folds. Joey also out. And now Scott with a pair of queens.
Scott going up to 225 with a pair of queens. Now with Matt, nope. Doyle Brunson, no good. And Brian in the big blind. That smile says, I got something real junky, but I'm going to call anyway.
All right, the ladies versus 5-3. What's going to happen? Ace, 8, deuce on the flop. And when you have the queens, you hate to see that ace appear.
Scott will check back here.
It's a 10 of hearts.
Brian doesn't have much, but he does have a gut shot, and obviously he cannot win at showdown, so he's going to fire out as a bluff for 400,000.
Yeah, he doesn't have much, but he has heart. This guy just likes to battle for every pot.
I like the sizing he chose. He bet quite big in relation to the pot, and that's to get his opponent to fold weak pairs and high cards like king, queen, king, jack.
Well, he's going to fight, but he gets the call they didn't want to see. River card comes up, another queen, not that he needed it.
And that is not the card Brian wanted to see, and
No.
he quickly checks over to Scott.
He's going to give up on this one. It seems like it's Scott wanting to put in some more money for value. Brian quickly folded the hand. Scott Majerison, the online guy, will take down a nice one. 6 top players battling for the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. Hey, WPT fans, have you checked out Zynga Poker?
With a variety of options for play and millions of users competing around the clock, Zynga Poker is the world's leading poker game.
That's right, Tony. Zynga Poker is available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Check out Zynga Poker today.
Does the name Moshe Nitzan ring a bell? Well, it should. Moshe was a featured player on Club WPT's King of the Club, and he's back again.
The first advice that I will give anyone on Club WPT is understand that your skill is good enough to win. Since the taping of King of the Club, I mainly concentrating on playing more since I realized someone can win on Club WPT. There were 1,773 players in my qualification tournament. 1,309 players playing this tournament, and I finished 143rd, and I earned $6,000. I'm ecstatic. You're always disappointed not going further, but I'm very, very proud of the way I played. Read about the game, look at the game, watch WPT. You'll be surprised how much information you can gather and then use it at the table. I'm looking forward to play Club WPT and qualified for the 3rd time.
Moshe cashed for over $6,000 and did it for free thanks to ClubWPT.com. So sign up today for your chance to win your way into a live event at ClubWPT.com.
All right, here is a look at our updated leaderboard. Joey Cowden out in front, Brian Hastings now in second, Scott Majerison solidly in third, and 3 players between 3 and 4.5 million.
Yeah, Matt Stout still the short stack. Oh, and Matt has picked up a pair of 9s. First position. Gotta like that. He's gonna make it 225 to go. Brian and Faraz go away. Joey goes out. Scott also folding. And wow, Jeff now with ace, queen of clubs.
Jeff with a decision between calling and re-raising here. Both options very reasonable.
And he is just going to call it with his ace, queen of clubs. So Matt hoping to get lucky here with his 9s, and so does Jeff. But Jeff gets lucky, outflops Matt with his queens as a king, queen, 8 hits the board.
Good flop for Jeff, but it is a board that's going to be hard to get value from Matt on.
They go check, check, and it only gets better there. For Jeff, he hits aces and queens.
Yeah, and if Matt wasn't scared on the flop, he's terrified now. So Jeff fires out 300,000. Matt will have difficulty continuing.
How you doing? Did you?
Yeah.
A good draw?
No, I just
See it. I don't believe you. It's a good one.
Brian inducing that showdown by Jeff. Yeah.
Seems like a good spot to be like $20 a nice show. Get a little value.
Yeah. Brian's such a nice guy. You always feel, oh, I'll make you happy. Shows the two pair.
I feel like Brian Hastings probably has $20 in his bank account. I don't want to assume anything, but you know.
And we move on. Faraz Jaka now with a very strong ace-9 of diamonds. Likes that. He will make a 2-10 to go. Around to Scott, who has picked up a pair of 4s.
Scott here going to make this call in position. He's on the cutoff. Now with Jeff on the button, he's got 5-4 suited, so he's going to come along.
Enjoy your flop, boys.
Well, I will.
And Hastings with Queen 8 of clubs also involved. So 4-way action. Nice pot potentially brewing. And here is the flop. It's a 10-10-4. So Scott flopping a full house just like that.
Wow. Faraz here with the lead. Knows this is a difficult board for his opponents to connect with, is going to fire out. I don't mind this bet, but I would prefer it if he had a diamond on the flop to draw to.
And Scott with his 4s full just calling, and now the construction man, Jeff, with a piece of it, and he's going to stick around with the call.
This is tricky here, Vince.
Hastings gets out of the way. Here comes the turn card. It's a 7 of clubs, so now there's 4 clubs out there for the construction man, Jeff, as well.
That is bad news for Jeff. He's got too much hand to get away now, but as we know, he is essentially drawing dead. A 10 would deliver a chop any other card, and he loses.
There's the bet by Scott with his 4s full. He's betting a hefty 1.35.
Scott, hoping that one of his opponents has a 10 and will put a lot of money in. Instead, Jeff, with a pair and a flush draw, has a decision to make.
Action clock, Tony, is ticking down to 4 seconds, and yep, Jeff wants more time. He's got a 4 flush and a little piece of it with a bad kicker. Oh boy, Faraz realizing the jig is up.
Faraz is just a spectator now. I know he still has cards, but he's not putting more money in this pot.
Well, this is a big moment for the non-pro. The clock is ticking down again. Can he get away from this at this point? Oh, he wants more time again.
Another concern I have about using 2 time bank chips here as Jeff is that you now eliminate the possibility of holding a 10.
Okay.
Because your opponents know you're going to make your decision
That's right.
faster than
That's
this
true.
if you have a 10.
Oh boy, he's making this call. Heavily invested. Jeff Fielder. Now, the thing you don't want to do is hit the flush to keep you around.
The irony is both these guys are
Oh,
rooting
no.
for a club, and there it is.
Oh boy. Oh boy, Jeff has hit his flush now. 4s filled for Scott.
If we could peek behind Scott's sweater there, you'd see an ear-to-ear smile.
Oh yeah.
Scott, also using a time bank chip.
Throw him off the tracks.
Yeah.
All in.
And there's the all-in. And
I call.
the construction man has fallen off the scaffold. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
So Jeff Fielder out in 6th place, the first person to get thrown into the swamp here at the Seminole Hard Rock. He will take home $144,000.
Great run from Jeff Fielder tonight, making his first final table, but he's going to have to come back once more if he wants to get a WPT title.
We'll be right back with the final 5 players as the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown continues.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. With the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown, 5 players remain. And out front, we basically have a tie for first place. Scott Majerison with 12.35 and Joey Cowden with 12.3.
Brian Hastings solidly in 3rd, Faraz 4th, Matt Stout still our short stack with about 25 blinds.
And the action going on. Joey folding. Scott Majerison, the other co-leader, also going away. And now Matt Stout, uneventful Queen 6. He won't do it. And Brian Hastings finally getting a real hand, pair of jacks.
Brian, he gonna raise here into Faraz's big blind. Faraz with a pair of 7s. is going to get involved.
Doesn't re-raise, just calls it. So jacks versus sevens, two great talents battling. And the flop's an 8-4 deuce.
Good flop for both players' hands. Better, of course, for Brian, as he now has Faraz in bad shape, but likely to continue putting money in.
Yes, betting 325. And he quickly gets the call and the action from Faraz. See if things change for Faraz here. No, it goes the other way. Another jack for Hastings. Not that he needed it.
And that jack does add some draws to the board, such as queen 10, 9, 10. Brian just going to bet out here for 800,000. This is tough for Faraz. I really don't know what he's going to do here. Very nice. Wow. Nice fold from Faraz. Gets away, losing the minimum there. There's Brian's fiancée Sonia in the audience cheering him on. We see her all the time on the tournament circuit.
Yeah, sometimes a player gets stubborn with a hand like sevens and just doesn't believe a guy like Hastings who could be playing anything.
Sure, there's a lot of draws he could have had there. Many players call that turn bet, but Faraz, sensing something was wrong, gets away.
Yep. Scott with ace-9 has raised, but Matt Stout with ace-king behind him. He's on the short stack, of course.
Rolling.
And he's going to shove it all. Hastings goes out. Faraz as well, and Scott doesn't even think about it. Gives it up to Matt.
Yeah, Scott's heard that song before. He knows ace-9 is not a hand you call the 25 big blind shove with. And as we take a look at the WPT Champions Cup, action with Matt Stout.
Yep, well, and he's starting to get some hands going here. A little rush. He's got a pair of 10s this time. And he'll put in the raise. 225 to go. Brian out and Faraz Jaka. Oh, wow. He even gets the better pair of queens.
Oh, no. This is a disaster for Matt. His opponent's going to re-raise him on the button. Matt and Faraz started this hand with the same amount of chips, so I would be stunned if he does not move in pre-flop over this 3-bet.
Oh, wow. Joey and Scott go away. Back on Matt Stout.
Even worse for Matt, one of his 10s was folded pre-flop, and Faraz has both his suits covered.
He's got about 2.3 roughly left.
All in.
Oh, he's going to push it. And obviously Faraz has to call this, insta-call. They turn him up, and Matt just getting the wrong hand at the wrong time.
Exactly. The right play from Matt, but the wrong time, unfortunately. Faraz here in great shape to knock out Matt Stout.
Matt Stout, 33 years old, living in Vegas. Third WPT final table, never won one. The man with the great laugh and voice needs to get lucky, and not there as a queen hits on the flop. Given 3 of a kind for Faraz.
Now, Matt doesn't know it, but this tournament is over. He is drawing dead.
And it's just another queen, that's
Okay,
all.
that's just a little bit of overkill. Matt says, these are yours now, Faraz. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Now, always happy to see Matt Stout do well on the World Poker Tour, but he's going to have to wait a little longer for his first WPT title.
The man with the great laugh is not laughing now. He'll take home $189,000. Another one goes into the Everglades. Let's talk to Matt Stout.
I try to focus on playing my best and letting the cards fall as they may. It's the only real thing you can do to not let luck and coolers really dictate your emotion too much in this game.
5th place finisher Matt Stout heads for the rail. And our final 4 are one step closer to that WPT title. That marks the end of tonight's coverage from the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the WPT.
Is that answer good enough? Can I go?
The World Poker Tour is sponsored by Zynga Poker. Go all in. Play the world's largest home game on Zynga Poker today.
I can outplay these guys. That's my shot. Got this. If I get the card, prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. to seize the opportunity, to be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
Welcome to the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown in Hollywood, Florida. I'm Lynn Gilmartin, and this is the WPT. This final table is proving once again why poker in South Florida is so competitive. Joining me with their insight on this competition are Vince Van Patten and Tony Dunst.
Well, Lynn, it's always fun here at the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. I love this place. And you know what? This is the mecca of poker. People love to play poker. The best names in the game are playing at the final table right now.
Yeah, that's right. 4 players remain. A really up and down final table where no one has been able to exert true control, but a lot of great poker going on by all 4 players.
We'll see what happens.
Thanks, guys. Tonight's winner will walk away with a first-place cash prize of almost $700,000. The stylish Hublot Big Bang steel watch, and of course, their name forever etched onto the WPT Champions Cup. Now, cards are back in the air, so let's get down to the felt.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Here's a look at our Zynga Poker leaderboard. Joey Cowden out at front at $12.5 million, followed by Scott Majerison just under 12, Brian Hastings at 8.7, and Faraz Jaka in 4th place, but sitting comfortable on 50 big blinds.
Yeah, Tony, the antes are 20,000, blinds are 6120. Let's go to the felt. The chip leader, Joey Cowden. They call him Joe Poker down here. That's his nickname. And he's got a pair of 7s. Gotta like it. Makes it 280 to go.
Joey, a very tough player from the Fort Lauderdale area, raising up 7s here into the big blind of Faraz Jaka.
Faraz Jaka, 5-time World Poker Tour final tableist. Hasn't taken down a title. What a great player he is. Is making this call with 10-8. And we will see the flop. It is a 6-6-9, so pretty good for the 7s.
Yeah, 2 pair for Joey, a gut shot with an overcard for Faraz, and I will say that this is the kind of texture and hand that a lot of professionals like to check raise with out of the big blind. You do have a draw to a really strong hand. Your hand isn't quite good enough to call a bet, and you could plausibly represent a 6 for trips here. Faraz, you see, is cutting out raising chips.
Yeah, he's going to make it 725 into Joe Poker.
And this is tough for Joey because a lot of the hands that Faraz is going to be bluffing with contain a 7. So when you've got 2 of them, it makes it much less likely your opponent's bluffing. Joey there goes away.
Little muscle there by Faraz Jaka. Oh, so tough.
Yep.
Good to mix in some check raises as bluffs, since most of the time you'll be check raising with strong hands.
And this time Faraz wakes up with ace-6. He'll make it 260 total. Joe goes out, and now Scott with a king-jack.
So you have like 7 mil now. Because it's confusing with the plaques, because you can't really see.
Now Scott lives down in Mexico to play online poker, and this is his first ever WPT cash.
Yeah, Scott, just 25 years old, one of the best players in the online tournament scene in the modern era.
950.
Scott making it $950,000 to go over the raise of Faraz. Faraz Jaka and Brian Hastings were some of the best players in the previous era of online poker. I'd be surprised if Faraz continued. Yeah, he lets that go. Of the offsuit aces, ace-6 is actually the worst because it cannot make a wheel. So Faraz goes away.
Back down to it. Scott this time with the queen-4, quickly mucks. Brian Hastings with the best hand you can get before the flop, pair of aces, and he will make it 300,000 quickly. Will he get action? Yes, Joe Poker with the pair of 7s.
Yeah, a little surprised Faraz folded king 10 in the small, but Joey, of course, not going anywhere with 7s in the big blind, so heads up to this flop.
The flop is ace 9 7.
You gotta be kidding me.
Both flop sets. Brian, of course, with top set of aces.
It is going to take some kind of run out to prevent Joey from losing a ton of chips here. He's going to start by just calling this bet from Brian. I do really like Joey's decision to call here.
Absolutely. You want to just trap your man. Little do you know that you're being trapped. A deuce on the turn.
Check.
And Joe, wow, he's going to check it. Brian will make a nice bet of $750.
Well, I'd like to be more articulate here, Vince, but really Joey is just screwed. I mean, there's just no way you prevent losing all of your chips here.
He's just calling, trying to trap. 3 on the river, not going to change anything. Set over set. Joey thinks he's trapping.
And I love the way that Joey has played this hand. 99% of the time, he's getting maximum value out of his opponent with his set via the slow play. Instead, he's about to lose it all.
Yeah, bet at 2.2. Now Joey, of course, Joe Poker, I should say, he has him covered.
Showing a little uncertainty in his face. Oh no, I'm facing a third barrel. I'm not really sure what to do here. I'm gonna have to think this one over. Oh, maybe I'll even use one of my time bank chips on the action clock as it ticks down.
Yes, we know that move. That's a shrewd move made by a lot of pros.
Oh, I'm gonna need way more time on this one. I'm not sure I want to put a bunch of money in with a set on a dry board.
That's why you gotta love poker.
All in.
There you go.
Call.
Insta call, and look at this. Joe's gonna turn him up like he has the winner. That hurts.
And you see him put his hands up like, well, what can I do? Nothing, really. You get a run out like that with set under set, you're going to double up your opponent. So, unfortunately for Joey, he built himself up to the chip leader at this final table, but suffers a huge setback there.
Well, there's Brian Hastings' fiancée Sonia enjoying the moment.
Brian Hastings taking over the chip lead.
I live and breathe poker a lot. I wouldn't say 24 hours a day, but this is work and fun. It's fun work. I really enjoy poker, and whenever I've had a thought of branching out to do something else, I always come back to it. Titles are exciting to me. I take a lot of pride in the fact that I have 3 World Series of Poker bracelets. Adding a WPT title to that would be really cool. I think there's a lot of prestige to it, and I'm really looking forward to giving it my best shot. Thank you.
Very skillful.
Brian Hastings, an incredibly successful player during the course of his career, got his start online, has 3 World Series bracelets, now looking to add a WPT title to his collection.
Yeah, he came into the final table as the chip leader, took his hits. The stack went way down, but now it's turning around for him. He's going to raise this time with an ace-deuce to 300,000.
Perhaps a chance for Joey to get some chips back.
They call him Joe Poker. And right now they're calling him Joe Pissed Off.
Yeah. Looks like he has enough chips left to make a 3-bet here without going all in.
Well, he's got a big hand, so you get some of that anger out by re-raising with the quality hand. Yep, he makes it 785 total.
785.
You could boil a pot of coffee on his head right now. Scott's going out.
Joey going with the small re-raise, hoping that will induce Brian to move in over the top. But he started this hand with about 20 blinds. Brian elects to get away instead.
There's Joe's parents in the audience. Mom, Lisa, Dad, Joe. It's his dad's birthday, by the way. And we move on. Quick fold by Faraz, and now Joey with Queen 9. We'll make it 280 to go. Scott goes out. And the local Brian Hastings with Ace-7.
He's going to make this call from the big blind against our short stack Joey.
All right, Queen 9 versus Ace-7. Aces and 7s for Hastings. He's on fire.
If Joey were deeper, I'd expect Brian to play this cautiously. However, Joey only started this hand with a little over 20 blinds, so I think Brian will either move in over this bet or check raise him big.
Well, Joey's bet 250 on the continuation. Looks like Brian's getting out the raising chips. Yeah, total of 850. Gonna chase Joey away.
Not much Joey can do there. Takes one stab at winning the pot. Brian comes over the top, and a quick fold.
And now Brian is gonna put Joe Poker through the torture chamber. You've been there, right, Tony?
You feel so hopeless. You feel like there's nothing you can do. You can't just, play your way out. You can't just get a good hand when you decide on it. You just have to wait.
Yep.
What do you get as a Club WPT VIP member? You can save money on shopping with Saver's Guide. Save money on events with Score Big. Save big, win big at clubwpt.com.
This is definitely one of the best events on tour. It's a great location, huge room.
It's a really fun place to play poker. It's got a great vibe. People here are generally a lot more friendly and having a lot more fun than you find in a lot of tournaments.
I always come out here to the Hard Rock. They have a lot of great tournaments. The fields are always amazingly fun. People love to gamble, and I'll be here every time.
Well, I love playing here at Seminole Hard Rock, Vince. The tournament director, Tony Burns, does an amazing job. Meanwhile, Brian Hastings at the top of our leaderboard, followed by Scott Majerison, Faraz Jaka in third, and Joey Cowden trying to build back up after that brutal setup hand.
Winner's going to take home close to $700,000. We go back down to the felt. A quick fold by Joe Poker. Scott with King 7 of hearts. He's getting out raising chips. Makes it 240 to go. Into Brian, who has a 9-6 of clubs. Oh, wow. The 18 million is going to change things. He's going to make a big raise with that junk hand.
Sure, Brian's hand is a little too weak to call here out of the small blind, but it can connect on a flop pretty well. So he decides to come over the top of Scott, especially while Joey is very short and Scott does not want to risk elimination.
2.6.
Scott, of course, says, yeah, I know what you're thinking, and now it's 2.6 million to go, Brian. He's chose a great hand to do it with. King 7 suited has a blocker to strong hands, but isn't good enough to call.
Yeah, just a great read by Scott. Right back over the top.
Scott, one of the best players in modern online poker, showing that he's got what it takes to win in the live arena as well. He's made 2 final tables at the World Series before, but this is his first WPT final table.
All right, four-handed poker. Blinds of 61-20. Action on Scott. He's in second chip position. He's going to fold, and now Brian with an ace-queen. It's a lot better than the 9-6. And he will raise it to 280.
Joey here has an 8-7 suited in the big blind. Some players like to move all in when they're around 20 blinds with these suited connectors, as they do fare well when they see 5 cards. Calling, of course, also a very strong choice. Joey wants to see a flop.
Oh, and the flop is beautiful for Joey. Jack 8-7, 2-pair.
Great flop for Joey, but also so coordinated that Brian likely to check back here and not put a lot of money in without improving. Oh, that's a way to improve.
Ace for Brian. He probably thinks he's in front now, and Joe's going to check into him.
You see, Joey knows that that is a card that he should be checking a very high percentage of the time, so he does it with his strong hands and his weak hands.
Hastings going to bite 375. Joey would like to get some revenge off of Brian.
All in.
He's going to push it right now, all in.
Joey is too short for any other option here, so he rips it in, tries to get value and protect his 2-pair at the same time, and he's pleased that Brian did not instant call him. He knows that he has the best hand now. Brian with a very tough decision holding top pair and the queen kicker.
The clock is ticking down, and he wants more time.
Brian considering whether he can have the best hand here often enough to make this call, getting about 2-1 on his money.
It's 2 million total.
He knows that he's in the lead some of the time, but that other times he can be drawing dead against a flush, and he does call.
Yeah, he's going to make the call. He's behind, but has a lot of outs.
two pair. Brian has ace-queen with the ace of clubs, queen of spades.
One bad card for Joe, he'll be gone.
Brian looking for an ace, jack, or queen. Otherwise, Joey Cowden will double up and get back in the mix.
Can Joe stick around? Yes, a deuce of diamonds on the river, so Joey will double up.
Okay, so Joey Cowden gaining a little momentum here. Takes some of those chips back from his nemesis, Brian Hastings.
Thank you.
I think confidence is one of the biggest weapons for anybody. Whether you're a great player or not, confidence is really underrated.
Joey Cowden, he's a South Florida regular, so we played together quite a bit. Very tough player. I mean, he plays all the games, plays well. Also has some fun at the table.
I really like beating people, I think, yeah. What puts me on tilt is making mistakes. I'm really hard on myself. A couple years ago, I was grinding harder than most other players around here. And I would like to see my poker career end up like Doyle. Hopefully, I'll be wheeling around like Doyle when he's 80.
Oh, that is the good life. But I think when he's 80, instead of a scooter, he'll have a rocket pack.
We have a quick pause in the action. When we come back, Phil Hellmuth will break down his thoughts on tonight's play. It's the raw deal, Poker Brat style. I hope you're enjoying tonight's coverage of the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. It's time to find out if Phil Hellmuth is also enjoying it in this edition of The Raw Deal.
Bluffing is an important tool in any poker player's arsenal. And tonight, we are seeing a masterclass on how great players use a bluff to their advantage. I've been playing against Faraz Jaka for over a decade, and he has unlimited potential. One reason why is that he has no fear. His range is wide, and putting him on a specific hand is quite challenging. Holding 10-8 on a 9-6-6 flop, from Faraz's point of view, he has a belly buster straight draw, needs a 7, and needs a 10 or an 8 for a pair. Great time to fire. And Faraz does, and takes the initiative, and raises it up post-flop. This check raise works quite often, with opponents most times folding ace-high, king-high, and small pairs. But why does Joey fold 7-7 when Faraz is known to bluff a lot and has such a wide range? Because Joey knows he's gonna have to not just call the flop bet, but a turn bet as well. And he wasn't ready to invest that much money in this spot. Good job, Faraz. Another great poker player, multiple World Series of Poker bracelet winner Brian Hastings finds himself in a hand pre-flop with online pro Scott Majerison. Brian Hastings smells weakness and makes a nice 3-bet. I love Hastings, good guy, and I love his well-timed 3-bet. And Hastings was right. His opponent Scott was weak. But Scott mans up and says, I know you know I'm weak, but since I think you're also weak, I'm going to re-raise you.
2.6.
4-bet. Great move, Scott. Way to man up.
Oh, boy.
Now, if I could just run good, when I smell a bluff, I'd finally get my first WPT title.
Phil's right there, Vince. Scott picked the perfect time to execute that bluff pre-flop with the King 7 suited.
Well said by Phil. And we move on four-handed poker here at the Seminole Hard Rock. And right now, Faraz Jaka. Let's take a look at his cards. He's got a decent king-queen. He's getting out raising chips, it appears. Yes, he will make it 260 to go with that hand. Joe Poker goes out. Scott as well. And now Brian Hastings with an ace-4.
Well, he's going to make this call from the big blind against Faraz.
So these two old buddies, great poker savants, going at it once again here tonight. And the flop is a queen 6-5. So beautiful flop for Faraz Jaka hitting the queens.
Great flop for Faraz, but also enough there that Brian may continue putting money in this pot as he has 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush with the backdoor nut flush draw, and an overcard to the ace.
Well, Faraz makes the continuation bet of 300. And that's exactly what Hastings is going to do. He is going to move it up to 950. Saying, I don't necessarily believe you have a queen. And I'm going to try to take the pot right now with my silly ace high.
And as we know, Faraz has a very strong hand on this flop and will not be going away.
No, he doesn't. To the absolute discomfort of that man right there. And a king only gets better for Faraz. 2 pair.
That's not a card that Brian is likely to fire. He was looking for a 3, a 7, a heart, maybe an ace. So he does check over to Faraz and stops the bleeding. Faraz not interested in any more checks.
Yeah, just in case this guy has a 4 flush, drawing 2. You got to put some money out there. Make him pay for it if he wants to stick around. And no, Brian does the wise thing and gets away from the hand. Faraz is going to take this one down. You know, his nickname years ago was the Toilet.
That's right. That was his online screen name, the Toilet 00.
I'm so glad that went away. But right now at the Dr. Pepper bar, the girls are really enjoying the moment. What a great event. And the blinds are going up to 75, 150, a $25,000 ante. And Joe Poker goes out, and now Scott, our chip leader, takes a rest. Oh, and Brian's got the perfect hand. Pair of kings.
Brian going to start by just calling from the small blind. And Faraz surprisingly checks a queen-8 suited in position. So both players slow playing a little bit as we get an ace, queen, 9, 2 club flop.
Oh, boy. So Faraz hits his queens, and Hastings can't be too happy. An ace appears, but he's going to bet, find out where he is, 150. Faraz with the queen's going to call. So neither one comfortable. And a 3 on the turn changes nothing. So Brian Hastings with the kings. Now he's going to slow down, saying, okay, this guy could have an ace on me. Who knows? And because he checked, now Faraz is saying, maybe I'm in front.
Yeah, I think it's quite reasonable for Faraz to believe he has the best hand
That's
here.
right.
But as we know, the kings of Brian, slow playing pre-flop, have now led to this turn where Faraz is doing the betting for him.
Yeah, 425, and Brian going to call.
And we see a 4 of spades on the river.
It's like neither player knows where they are. They're both fearful of the other guy, so they both check. And they turn it up. And the slow-played kings are going to win it. Brian Hastings will take the pot to the absolute delight of his friends.
Scott Baumstein here to support Brian, looking thrilled to be in the audience tonight. He is a recent WPT Deep Stacks winner and currently on top of the leaderboard for Player of the Year in the WPT Deep Stacks Tour.
Yeah, impressive poker player. And now Faraz going out, and Joey here with a queen jack will make it 400,000 to go. Scott doesn't compete. Brian with a 5 deuce in the big blind. Of course he'll call. Hope to get lucky. The flop is a jack 10-7, so top pair for Joey.
Joey checks back here with his top pair.
Wow. 10 pairs the board, but it gives 4 hearts out there for Brian Hastings now.
Well, Brian seems to believe that Joey was likely to check back with showdown value on the flop, doesn't try and bluff him, and he rivers a flush while Joey rivers a full house.
Unbelievable.
This could get a little expensive.
Yeah, Brian probably thinks he has a winner now with his little flush. Oh, yeah, and Hastings is going to come out with a bet. He thinks he's in front.
Now, he bet full pot there, so he's trying to get Joey to call with ace high or, well, really ace high.
Oh, but back over the top by Joe Poker. Wants to punish Brian, and Brian is completely confused now. He's saying, is this guy really have a jack or a 10? What's going on here?
This is awkward for Brian. He's thinking, well, if you had a jack or a 10, why didn't you bet the flop or turn? Did you really check all the way down here? So the action clock ticking away as Brian contemplates whether to call or not.
He's going to take more time here. It is a big moment. Be a nice laydown if he could do it. But he just might have to pay this off the way it was played. But no, Brian, too good for that. Does the right thing.
So Joey Cowden still trying to build back up after suffering set under set, gaining some momentum.
As we near the tail end of season 16, the race to become the Ublo WPT Player of the Year is close to the finish line. Two-time WPT champion Art Papazian is still on the top of the leaderboard, but players like Derek Walters and Eric Afriat are starting to close in. And will Art hold them off, or will someone be able to snatch the lead? We will keep you apprised of the results, but now let's get back to the final table.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Here's a look at our updated Zynga Poker leaderboard. Scott Majerison at 13.6 million, followed by Brian Hastings at 11.6. Faraz Jaka in third with 7.4, followed closely by Joey Cowden.
Faraz Jaka, very talented pro. This time with Queen 7 of clubs, and he will move it to 350 to go. Joe Poker goes out, and now Scott with a decent ace-jack.
Scott has mixed up his approach in these situations between calling and 3-betting, but so long as he's the chip leader, it looks like he's going to lean towards the more aggressive option as he makes it 1.2 million.
Brian Hastings has to go out, and Faraz believes him as well. So the chip leader going to take that one.
Scott, one of the best players in the modern online tournament scene, which has become incredibly competitive over the years. Now showing that his abilities translate to the live felt.
Onward we go, and Brian with King 10 of hearts has raised to 350. A couple folds around to Scott with a 9-6 of hearts. He will play. And we will look at a flop. Wow, and the flop is a 9-6 deuce, just absolutely perfect for Scott, hitting top 2 pair. Oh, that's a beautiful thing to have happen.
Well, Brian does have a little piece here with 2 overcards, a backdoor straight, a backdoor flush draw, but Scott's got a hand that is likely to check raise on a texture where he's probably going to be check raising more draws than strong hands, as he's not getting to this flop with a lot of 9 deuce and 6 deuce combinations.
Scott hitting the top 2 pair with a junk hand, and he is going to re-raise right now. Not going to play slow.
And I like that Scott has gone with the check raise here. That will help balance with the times he check raises as a bluff. Here, he's got the top 2 pair, and Brian goes away.
And the rich get richer. And Scott is originally from England, and he says he's played more hands than the final table, all of them put together. How about that?
A bold claim that I don't quite believe, considering Faraz and Brian were both very active in the heyday of online poker.
A lot of hands, though. He's only 25 years old. And now he looks down at an ace-7 of diamonds with the button. And he has raised it to 300. Brian out. And Faraz Jaka with a real hand this time. Pair of jacks. And he's going to re-raise to $1 million.
Well, Scott with a suited ace in position and plenty of chips is going to make this call.
This could be a big pot. Pair of jacks. Let's see what happens. Another jack on the flop. Jack 7-3. 3 of a kind for Faraz.
And a dangerous flop for Scott, as he has second pair and the backdoor nut flush draw on a texture where he knows his opponent is going to follow through with a continuation bet at a very high frequency.
That is so true. And Faraz will do that. He bets 850, but with a huge hand, as we know. And Scott with second pair will make this call. We go in deeper. Turn card is a king of diamonds. Wow, now it gives a 4 flush to Scott on top of his 7s. But he's well behind with the 3 of a kind by Faraz.
And Faraz not slowing down. Gonna cut out a bet of...
Oh, it's all going in. The plaques, the chips, it's 1.6.
Scott's getting about 3.5 to 1 to make this call. I expect Scott to see a river. Not only does he have a draw to the nuts, but every now and then he has the best hand against something like ace-queen or ace-10 that's double barreling.
Tough to get away from this. You want to see if a diamond appears. So he is making this call. We are going to the river. Can the chip leader hit his diamond and crush Faraz? No, it's another king. So just jacks full for Faraz.
All in.
And he's going to go all in.
Faraz has announced all in.
Scott is just saying, I didn't get there. I got my measly sevens, but is it possible this guy could be bluffing all the way like this? Should I put the extra money in?
Yeah, and there's not that many hands that Faraz is going to run this triple barrel bluff with. And some of the combinations he's likely to do it with are stuff like ace-10, ace-queen of diamonds, ace-5 of diamonds. So with Scott holding the ace of diamonds, he actually blocks a lot of the potential bluffs that Faraz could have.
But he's going to take extra time. He might just want to make the hero call here. We've seen that before.
So Scott goes away.
Finally does the right thing, and Faraz Jaka picking up a big one against the chip leader.
Can't say I was rooting for you. Seem nicer than these guys, but I like myself a lot.
This episode is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, the official soft drink of the World Poker Tour. Hublot, the official watch of the World Poker Tour. Rockstar Energy, the official energy drink of the World Poker Tour. And Club WPT. Play poker for real cash and prizes today at clubwpt.com. You know, we get to travel to many wonderful places. And you know, Nancy Smith traveled to Hollywood, Florida with her husband, Alex, after winning a main tour seat at Club WPT.
My name's Nancy Smith, and I'm from a little town in Tennessee called Selmer. I was fortunate enough to win a seat to play in the WPT tournament. It was nice having my husband here. He sat there and watched me and cheered me on and made me feel good. Is that good enough? I can't lie anymore than that. He drives me crazy. Oh, I'm enjoying the VIP experience. My favorite part was meeting some of the players that I did. At first, I was a little bit intimidated by them, but then I beat a couple of them with my hands, and I felt really good. Playing on Club WPT has improved my poker game. I win now more than I used to. It's helped me with my patience, and that's what makes a successful poker player.
Nancy got to experience the VIP life and show off her poker skills on TV. Sign up at clubwpt.com for your chance to experience the VIP treatment and play in a main tour event.
All right, four-handed poker. Right now, Scott Majerison is the chip leader, but they all have chips. Scott's got 11.2. Brian Hastings in second chip position with 11. Faraz with about 10.6. And Joe Poker, Joey Cowden, with 6.2 million. Here we go. Blinds are still 75, 150. Couple folds, and it's around to Scott, who's got a king-3 of spades.
Scott in the small blind here. Facing off against Brian in the big, starts by calling. Brian looks down at 10-8 suited and says, let's pump this up to 500,000.
500 even.
Scott will not be folding a suited king blind versus blind.
No, he has got to call that. He wants to see the flop. And here we go, 10-8 versus king-3, and the flop will be Jack-4 deuce. Helps neither player.
Yeah, you're right. Not much for either player here, so you give the advantage to the player in position, who is the pre-flop aggressor. So the bet of 400,000 from Brian takes that down. Scott folds what's technically the best hand, but not good enough to continue.
You know, we went back a few years ago. Brian Hastings, who's never made a final table on the World Poker Tour, but he was one of the players to watch.
Yes.
He's really well liked on the circuit and considered a great player.
Scott will go away. Brian finds himself with pocket sevens facing a raise from Joey Cowden.
You start with like 5, 6?
Like 6.2, I think.
Okay.
Brian want to call or 3-bet here?
Yeah, two great starting hands. And he is going to raise it with the sevens. Makes it 1.3 total. Back on Joe Poker.
All in.
And Joe Poker is going to push it all in with the ace-king.
The call.
And that's got to be called.
Okay, Vince, it is a classic coin flip to see who becomes our chip leader. Joey Cowden was down to 2 million in chips after that set under set cooler versus Brian Hastings, now with an opportunity to make himself the chip leader of this final table.
Family and friends in the audience. Now he has to get lucky to stick around.
Oh, you can see he wants it. It's coming out in his body language. The typically stoic Joey Cowden really wants to see an ace or king, or how about both?
Oh, man. Ace, king, jack on the flop. He gets aces and kings. Hastings, hugely disappointed.
Kind of close.
Oh, man. Well, it's Joey Cowden's dad's birthday, and there's a present on the turn for him. Lock this one up for Cowden.
Yeah, wow, a 7 on the river. Irrelevant.
Let's rub some salt in Brian's wound.
Hey WPT fans, are you ready for fun, competitive poker action? We know just the place. With millions of users worldwide, Zynga Poker is the place to play for around-the-clock poker excitement. Zynga Poker is available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook. So, what are you waiting for? Check out Zynga Poker today.
Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We're at the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. 4 players battling for the championship. Joe Poker. Joey Cowden out in front with 12.7 million.
Followed by Scott Majerson and Faraz Jaka. Brian Hastings sitting on the short stack. He was recently our chip leader, but he lost a very big flip to Joey Cowden.
That is right, Brian Hastings, very famous young professional player with Queen Jack, has raised it to 350. Faraz goes out, and now Joey with a Queen 10.
4.5, yeah. Started with like 5, a little over 5.
Well, there's a sign of a table full of professionals. Everyone knows exactly how much they're playing all of the time. So Joey makes this call. Go into the flop, dominated by Brian's Queen Jack, and unfortunately for Joey, he hits a hand that is going to cost him some money if he can't find a 10.
Wow, Queen 6-3. They both have queens, but Hastings, of course, with the better kicker, and he'll bet 300. Joe Poker makes the quick call, perhaps thinking he's in front. And we are going to the turn. It's an 8 of hearts, doesn't change anything.
Not a very impactful card on the turn, though it does add a few draws in the form of 9-7, 9-10, Jack 10, but Joey, with a 10, has a blocker to some of those draw combinations.
Brian's bet 850. He would love to take a chunk out of Joey's chip stack at this point, and yes, he's going to get the action he wants. Let's see if anything crazy hits on the river. No, it's a 3, which is just terrific for Brian Hastings. He's got queens up with a better kicker.
2.3 million.
Wow. Oversized bet of 2.3.
Yeah, big bet from Brian here, firing 2.3 into 3 million. Joey seems to sense that something is wrong here, despite a fairly safe run out for his hand.
Nice 1.5, 1.6. Probably be called pretty quickly, but now the action clock is ticking down. I think Hastings wanted the oversized bet to make it look like a potential bluff. You can't think that this man can lay this hand down, but he's going to do it. It's just a beautiful laydown.
Wow, tremendous fold from Joey. He has played such a disciplined game at this final table. Now the deck keeps trying to cooler him, and he keeps sneaking his way out.
Yeah, he is playing quite well here tonight. That took a few chips out of him, though, and now action's on Scott. He won't play. Hastings this time with a King 10. He'll go to 350. Faraz out, and once again, Joey with ace 3, decent hand, will make this call.
Brian in position here. As we see a flop of 9-6 deuce 2 clubs, so Joey in the lead. But more for Brian to like on that flop. And he checks back here. And with the 8 of clubs on the turn, Brian now has outs to any club, a 7, and of course a king or a 10. Another check. That's a little surprising.
And now a 7 comes up, actually giving Brian a straight to the 10. But there's 3 clubs out there. Joey has nothing.
Joey seems to believe that Brian has a weak pair that's just trying to get to showdown, so he's going to turn ace-high into a bluff, and Brian immediately calls, and if you're wondering why he didn't raise, it's because with 4 to a straight and 3 to a flush out there, he thinks that if he raises, the only hands that Joey puts more money in with are better hands.
Tough moment. Brian coming back, so everybody has chips right now. Blinds are at 1 and 200, 25,000 ante. Winner's going to take home close to 700,000 tonight. And now Joey looks down at a wonderful pair of queens.
Well, Joey has been so patient tonight. He was down to $2 million at one stage after losing set under set against Brian Hastings, but built it all the way back up to the chip lead. And now with queens, raises into the big blind of Faraz Jaka, who, oh no, has pocket kings.
Unbelievable. What a time to get him. Faraz peeking down at the kings. The Cowboys at the right moment.
Impending disaster for Joey Cowden. The deck has coolered him yet again. Faraz Jaka making it $1.5 million.
It's incredible. Joe Poker is going to be sick if it doesn't work out here, and he's far behind. And he's thinking about those words, I guess.
All in?
That's what they are. All in.
Ugh. And Jaka with the very nonchalant instant call as he tables his kings. Joey slams over his queens in frustration.
Yeah, he's just shaking his head, getting up. Can't believe this is happening to him. Very tough to have in a four-handed poker game, those 2 quality hands. And to be on the wrong side of it really hurts. Wow.
Now, we're about to ruin his dad's birthday here if he can't find a queen.
Let's see what happens on the flop. No, it's at 7-6-4. Does not help Joe Poker.
Couple of spades there will give Joey a glimmer of hope.
That's true. To the turn, not a queen. It's an ace.
Where's she at?
She's down to 2 queens for outs. That's it. Otherwise, he'll be our 4th place finisher here tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Where are all them royal girls at?
Going to the river. Can he get lucky? No, it's a 3 of diamonds.
Well, we are going to lose Joey Cowden in 4th place. Played an excellent final table, and at one stage held the chip lead, but this cooler set him back.
So Joe Poker out in 4th place. We'll take home $251,000, and we are down to 3 players.
That marks the end of tonight's coverage from the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. Be sure to join us next time when we will crown a champion. Good night.
The World Poker Tour is sponsored by Zynga Poker. Go all in. Play the world's largest home game on Zynga Poker today.
I can outplay these guys. That's my shot. Got this. If I get the card, I prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
Tonight in South Florida, a World Poker Tour title is on the line. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lynn Gilmartin, and this is the WPT. We are in the final stretch of our coverage of the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown here in Hollywood, Florida. Here to get us up to speed on the standings are Vince Van Patten and Tony Dunst.
Well, it's a great event we're seeing here tonight. 3 players remain. Faraz Jaka, who was on the short stack, and now he's the chip leader with 50% of the chips. You know, he's made the final table here on the World Poker Tour 5 times.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for Faraz tonight. Brian Hastings is one of the best live tournament players. He's won several bracelets, but has yet to earn his first WPT title. And Scott Majerison, to be a very formidable live competitor as well.
So Faraz out in front right now, but don't count it yet.
Thanks, guys. Tonight's first place prize is close to $700,000. Our champion will also take home the impressive Hublot Big Bang Steel watch, plus have their name added to the WPT Champions Cup. Now, it looks like the final table is back in play, so let's get down to the felt.
Thank you, Lynn. Let's have a look at our Zynga Poker leaderboard. Faraz Jaka, now your chip leader, above 20 million. Scott Majerison in second at 10.5, and Brian Hastings in third at 8.4 million.
In the antes are 25,000, the blinds are 100, 200. Here we go. 3 tough pros going at it here. Action on Brian Hastings, the local here in Fort Lauderdale. He's got ace-7. He'll make it 450 to go. Our chip leader Faraz Jaka going out. And now Scott, online wizard in the poker world, is going to make this call. He's never cashed in a World Poker Tour event. Look at this flop, 10-7-3. Brian Hastings hitting 7s.
Well, we discussed earlier that when players flop a gut shot out of the big blind, it's often the kind of hand they like to use as a check-raise bluff to balance with the times they have a really strong hand. Scott here seems to buy into that philosophy. Check raises to 1.25 million.
With the Jack-8.
Brian here with second pair and the ace kicker makes the call.
Let's see if something crazy happens for Scott. No, it's a 4 of spades, so Brian's still in front with the 7s. So Scott now is going to take a stab at this. He is betting 1.9 with nothing. Jack-8 inside straight draw. He's just going for it.
Well, some of the hands that Scott would check raise bluff with here are 5-6, 8-9.
Action clock. Brian has to make a move or buy more time, and that's what he's going to do.
So does Brian believe that Scott has one of his strong holdings here, or that he's drawing?
All in.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Brian puts it together, moves in, and Scott instantly slides his cards to the muck.
Like he could see through the cards. Brian Hastings looking like a hero there.
Scott thinking out loud.
Something like that. And we move on. What poker we're seeing? It's on Faraz. He's got over 20 million in chips at this point. He's never taken a WPT title, but like we said before, he's made the final table 5 times. He was a WPT Player of the Year, and now he has raised, but Scott's coming over the top with a Jack-10.
Scott not backing down despite the setback against Brian there.
Yeah, it's gonna work.
Knows that in a 3-handed poker game, he needs to maintain his aggression.
All 3 of these guys very easily could be bluffing hands all the time. They don't wait for cards, they wait for situations. And here we go. Brian Hastings this time with a queen deuce. He's just going to call it. Faraz with a little pair of 3s says, okay, I'm fine. Let's see the flop. And the flop comes up. Oh, man. Ace-Jack-3. 3 of a kind for Faraz.
What a flop. And Brian here is going to stab for the minimum bet.
200,000. Faraz Jaka hitting a beautiful hand. He's going to walk the dog, disguise the strength, just calling. As we go to the turn 4 of clubs.
And that's a card that may lead Brian to double barrel, as he now has a gut shot to a 5, whereas most turn cards won't be able to help him.
Well, he's coming out with a bet, 600. Little does he know what he's up against. Faraz Jaka. They used to call him the Toilet. That was his nickname.
That's right, the Toilet 00 online for many years.
And the Toilet right now is going to flush out Brian if he raises.
Brian headed for the drain, to continue the analogy.
He's getting the plaques out, and it's pushing in. 1.9 total, and now Brian finally kind of gets it, don't you think?
Yeah, I can't imagine Brian would continue here. There they go.
But you gotta love about Brian, he always quickly acts. He
Right.
knows when the jig is up. But let's talk about this guy, Faraz Jaka. What a player, but he's also an entrepreneur and quite a fine businessman.
Learning all these fundamentals of business has definitely come in handy in poker because I treat my poker as a business. You're managing money, you have to figure out your schedule, you're making decisions. It really is a business. And that business is yourself. You got to figure out how to invest in it, how to excel at it. The reason why you study and play those thousands of tournaments is so that when you're in this moment, you know what to do. There's nothing that I need to figure out now. It's the same old thing that I've prepared for this whole time.
Faraz Jaka.
Winning this event would really feel like I sealed the deal. I've won the World Poker Tour Player of the Year. I've taken that title down. There's only one thing left, and that's winning a championship event.
You know, Tony, I also treat my poker like a business.
Do you?
Unfortunately, I went Chapter 11 about 10 years ago. So.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that.
Okay, just moving on. Okay, as you can see, Faraz Jaka out in front, the businessman with close to 22 million.
Yeah, Faraz, a natural risk taker, recent entrepreneur, and WPT champion hopeful.
And we are seeing it all tonight. We're seeing great moves, great plays, really intelligent poker.
Faraz now with Queen Jack in the small blind. $650 from Faraz over to Scott. He's got a King 8 of diamonds. And we'll make the call in position.
And the flop is a King 6 deuce, so kings for Scott. Nothing hitting for Faraz.
And that is a texture that Faraz will be betting as the pre-flop raiser. But unless he turns a 9, 10, or ace, I would expect him to slow down.
Well, Scott is just going to call with the top pair. And we are going to the turn. It is a 10 of clubs.
Well, that is pretty much the best possible card for Faraz to double barrel, but instead he elects to check, which I gotta say I'm pretty surprised by. 850,000 from Scott over to Faraz.
All in?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Faraz might just check raise bluff all in here, and Scott, yeah, he's like, yeah, I got top pair and I'm the short stack, I call.
Wow.
I was wondering why Faraz checked that turn, and now it makes much more sense. I like the play. It didn't work out here, but if your opponent has a 6 or deuce and bets the turn, they're almost certainly going to fold to your shove.
Here we go, river card. No, that's another king.
Scott gonna get a big double up here against Faraz Jaka. Trip kings on the river holds up against the straight draw.
This episode is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, the official soft drink of the World Poker Tour. Hublot, the official watch of the World Poker Tour. Rockstar Energy, the official energy drink of the World Poker Tour. And Club WPT. Play poker for real cash and prizes today at clubwpt.com.
An incredible turnout here at the Seminole Hard Rock is now down to 3 players with Faraz Jaka out in front, Scott and Brian tied for second place.
Yeah, first place going to take home close to $700,000. Third place, $336. Not chump change. Let's go to the felt. Scott now with Jack 7 makes it $400,000 to go. Brian goes out, and Faraz is going to squeeze Jack 7. And he will make this call.
Both playing the same hand. We see a flop of ace-5-3. Nothing for either player, and so you give the advantage to the pre-flop aggressor, Scott.
And he will chuck in a bet of 300. It's gonna work. So Scott Majerison, originally out of England, now plays online poker in Mexico. Looking good here tonight.
Scott Majerison.
This is the biggest live final table I've made. I mainly play high stakes online tournaments. I guess lacking a bit of live experience could cause me some problems. Really, when you sign up to play a tournament, you basically know you're signing up for failure every single time, and you just do it because you know in the long run you're supposed to make money at some point, but who knows when. It's kind of annoyed me a little bit up to date that I've had such poor live results, but I've always known that it's just keep turning up to play, and in time I expect it to turn around. To win this tournament, it would be nice to get the monkey off my back. My friends would stop giving me banter about only being able to play online. I try not to get too excited about it all. Obviously, it's a lot of money, but it's just, another day.
Tony, doesn't he do that show where he sings in a cab with a celebrity?
Oh, I love him when he does that.
I know. And he plays great poker here, too.
Scott knows that in the end, poker, and especially poker tournaments, are a long-term game. You really have to be patient, not just today, not just tomorrow, but for months or years at a time. All his patience paying off tonight, maybe in the form of a WPT title.
That's a good way of looking at it. All right, back to this hand. Brian just calling with his Jack Deuce. And Faraz checks, so we're going to see a flop. He's got King 4. And the flop is a Jack 9-5.
Brian checks top pair over to Faraz, who checks behind and turns a top pair of his own. So now Faraz with the lead. Brian done checking, bets $250,000 with what's now second pair. Faraz, happy to continue with his king, makes this call.
And the river card is a 10.
Okay, 4 to a straight, 3 to a flush out. Brian checks. Does Faraz want to go for thin value? Does he believe he can get called by worse? He seems to think so. And he's going to bet big here. It's a pot of $1 million and he bets $850,000. What a tremendous bet from Faraz. Let's see if he can get paid.
Faraz with top pair, but any queen beats you.
And there it is.
Brian's going to pay him off.
I don't think he'd do that.
Neither did I, Brian, so credit to Faraz for making a very thin value bet and getting the most out of his pair kings.
Yeah, that's the sign of a great player. You really feel good when you make that kind of move. Get that extra value, extra money. But it's awful when the guy comes back over the top and makes you fold. And then shows the bluff against you.
Yeah, and then you're like, why did I even bet?
Yeah. And we move on. And right now, Faraz has raised it up to 450. Scott out. Brian with ace-5 is making this call. Ace-5 versus queen 7. Flop is an ace, jack 6, so aces for Hastings. And he's checked.
And he's got the backdoor nut flush draw to go along with top pair.
Yeah, Faraz bets 475. Brian with the top pair. Smooth calls. Going to the turn. It is a 10.
Well, that is a card that may lead to Faraz firing a double barrel here, as he now has a gut shot to the king. Most turns would not give him more equity in this hand. That's a pretty good one for him.
Wow. The chip leader is going to bet close to 1.4 million in chips.
Brian, undeterred, makes the call.
Yeah, with his aces. And the river card coming up. Oh, it's a nice 5 that gives aces and 5s to Brian, and he's going to check and try to trap more, but no, Faraz doesn't go for it. So Brian Hastings outsmarting Faraz right there. 3 players remain at the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. Who will become our champ here tonight? We will see when we come back.
Hey, WPT fans, have you checked out Zynga Poker?
With a variety of options for play and millions of users competing around the clock, Zynga Poker is the world's leading poker game.
That's right, Tony. Zynga Poker is available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Check out Zynga Poker today. Well, so many great players out here this week, and Club WPT VIP member and tournament fisherman Larry Terry proved he's no fish at the table.
I'm Larry Terry from Nashville, Tennessee. I enjoy playing poker because it's fun, it's competitive, and I've been playing poker probably for 20, 25 years. But I've been fishing all my life. Both fishing and poker they're alike because it's competition to me. The fishing is a lot more intense because you have to catch fish. Playing poker, you can sort of lay back. Fishing is helping me at the poker table because you have to be patient. You have to fish slowly and you have to reel in the fish. And that's like trying to get another poker player. Club WPT has improved my poker game because I get to see a lot more hands. And you can try different techniques. If you get knocked out, you just sign right on to another one.
Larry won his way into the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown by playing on Club WPT, and you can too. Sign up to become a VIP member at clubwpt.com for a chance to win real cash and prizes.
Well, we are back here on the World Poker Tour. As you can see, 3 players remain. And out in front, Faraz Jaka with 15.5 million. Scott Majorison, 12.2. And Brian Hastings with about 11.4.
Yeah, quite an even match, though. Every time it seems like one of these players is going to separate himself from the pack, they drag him right on back.
Very interesting poker here tonight. Winner's going to take home close to 700,000. And right now, Faraz Jaka going to move it up to 450 to go. Brian's going to call with a 10-6. So 2 awful hands. Trying to be something. And a Jack-5-4 flops. So Faraz getting a piece of that. He gets the 5s. They go check, check. 8 on the turn.
Both players pick up a gut shot here, needing each other's outs.
Brian taking a stab here, $500,000. Faraz makes the call. Nothing happening on that river.
Yeah, Brian is missed. Does he want to try and bluff his way out here?
If you can't hit the hand, sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do. Oh, he's going to do what he doesn't want to do, but he has to do. He's going to bet it and try to take a stab at a bluff. 1.7 million.
Yeah, Brian bets very big there. That chases away Faraz.
Oh, there's Sonia and the gang on the rail, rooting Brian on. And the blinds are up now to 125, 250 with a 25,000 ante. Getting very expensive here. And a quick fold by Brian this time. Faraz now with a pretty solid King-10. Just calls. And Scott behind him with a King-9. Yeah, but he's going to raise it.
Scott in position here with a pretty strong hand for the big blind. He's going to charge Faraz to see this flop with what it turns out is a dominating hand.
Total of 750. Here's the flop. It's a nothing flop. 6-4 deuce. There's 2 clubs.
And that is better for Faraz's limp calling range than Scott's raising range. So he checks back there, bringing a 4 on the turn.
Pairing the board. Faraz checks, and now Scott. He's saying, look, if you're yielding, I'm betting.
And Faraz gonna give up. I'm a little surprised by that fold, but I guess if he anticipates facing another bet on the river, he's trying to save himself a difficult decision.
These guys are playing with just air. They're not hitting necessarily many times. They are just betting situations. You gotta love it.
Goes to show that most of the time in a short-handed poker game, you're not gonna have it, and so you'd better be capable of bluffing your way out.
Yep, have the imagination and the guts to do those kind of moves. But right now, Faraz with a big hand, ace-queen, has raised, and behind him, wow, Scott with king 10 over the top for $2 million total.
Scott has been very aggressive out of the small blind in these kind of situations, so I would like to see Faraz rip it in pre-flop. They're just over 40 blinds deep, and he has quite a strong holding. And it looks like Faraz is going to just call instead, so we'll go to a flop with Faraz in position.
Yeah. Faraz out in front slightly. Let's see the flop. Oh, it's a king, deuce, deuce. So Scott outflops Faraz. And he re-raised heavily before the flop, but now he's going to slow down.
What a nice check from Scott on this flop. He knows it's very hard for his opponent to draw out on this texture. And he has what is probably one of the weakest kings in his 3-betting range here. So he opts to mix that in with his checking range.
And Faraz is going to bet $1.4 million. Scott okey-doking a big call. Going to the turn. It just gets better and better as a king hits. He has kings full, and he's going to check again. He's digging the hole. Put the branches of the twigs over it, waiting for the sucker to fall in, but not Faraz this time. Going to the river.
Faraz, a little too crafty to step on all those suspicious-looking twigs.
But Scott's going to try it again.
Yeah, at this point he said, I have a hand with medium showdown value, so he continues that story and checks to Faraz on the river, hoping he'll bluff. Faraz likely realizes that Scott has too much showdown value to fold, and so he checks it back.
Yes, he's slowed down, doesn't lose any more, but that is a huge hand for Scott. It's going to put him well out in front as the chip leader now, trying to separate himself from the pack.
The poker brat Phil Hellmuth is in the house. That means it's almost time to get his unfiltered look at tonight's play. The Raw Deal is coming up. Welcome back to the WPT's coverage of the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown. It's time for Phil Hellmuth to let loose in this edition of The Raw Deal.
Folks, let me tell you, tells are a thing, and I'm a master at spotting them. I have won all of the titles I have primarily because of my reading ability. All tournament long, we have seen online master Scott Majerison cover his face with his sweatshirt the second he is involved in a hand. This is a smart move for someone who is not used to playing live, especially against an experienced player like Faraz Jaka, who has made some great reads in the past. So yes, it's a good strategy for Scott to duck and cover. But is it a bad look for poker, and is it fair? Is using sweatshirts, scarves, hats, and sunglasses to cover your face legal? Yes. But should it remain legal? No. I think that Scott should be forced to disguise his tells in another way. I think it looks awful when players use articles of clothing to cover their faces. What's next? Ski masks? Wetsuits? Of course, many of us use our hands to cover our face when we're in a big pot. So outlawing any type of hiding may be more complicated than it looks.
I'm just going to put a box over my head the next time I play. I've had it.
Oh, well, we're still three-handed here at the Seminole Hard Rock. Brian Hastings now on the button has a 10-5 of hearts.
Okay, blinds a 125, 250, and a raise by Hastings. Faraz has folded, and now Scott with the pair of fives.
What do you have now?
I think like 12-5.
Scott out in front with about 17 million. Just gonna call this. 10-5 versus 5-5, and the flop is an ace, queen, 9.
Well, that is not the flop that either player was looking for. Brian might continuation bet in position here. He really just has no hand. Not much of a way to turn outs besides maybe like a jack or a king to give him a straight draw. And this may work, as Scott's fives are not loving this flop, so he'll go away, and the bet from Brian works out.
Just goes to show you, you take a chance, close your eyes, and then win the pot with 10 high. Just nicely done. Back on Brian. He's got an 8-7. He's got the button. And he's got the chips out. Makes it 600 total.
Faraz with a queen jack here in one of those situations that you can mix up your calling with your 3-betting. He wants to make it 2 million.
Yep, there's no safe haven here, and everyone has to lay down the hand. Faraz Jaka picking that one up with his queen high. Faraz Jaka 5 times at a WPT final table, but yet to take a title down. Although he's been a WPT Player of the Year without winning one. That's how good he is. And now Scott with a king 8 of clubs is going to make it 500,000 to go. Brian this time with an attractive ace-jack.
Brian gonna 3-bet here, makes it 1.8 million. And Scott has one of those hands on the button.
Is that 2 stacks of blues at the back, or just one?
Yeah, two stacks. Yeah.
That could go any of the 3 ways. He could fold, he could call, he could 4-bet. And this time he elects to call.
Okay, here we go. It's a big jack, 9, 3, 2 clubs. Everything gets there. Brian Hastings with top pair, big kicker, but Scott with the 4 flush.
And Brian checking over to Scott. Makes me think that he intends to check raise him here on this flop.
Well, Scott's going to come out with the bet
2 million from Scott.
with his potential monster.
And I wonder, is Brian going to check raise small, check raise big, move all in? What's the play?
Brian, you have 10 seconds.
3.8.
Brian announces a raise.
He's going with a big check raise that is not quite all in. Makes it 3.8 million.
Yeah, he's going to put the pressure back on Scott. And that's what you have to do at this point. The cards play themselves on this one, and they turn them up. And Brian Hastings, a slight favorite against Scott, but if it doesn't work out for Brian, he'd be gone.
Brian was once a commanding chip leader of this final table, entered the final table with the chip lead, now at risk of going out third if Scott finds a club or a king.
Here we go. It's not a club, it's a 3. So Brian Hastings dodging 1 card. He'll become a big chip leader if he should dodge a king or a club on the river.
Let's see if he can get it, Vince.
Here we go.
Oh, no! The 7 of clubs! And just like that, we lose Brian Hastings in 3rd place. Great run here at the Seminole Hard Rock. It does come to a close a little short of the title.
Stunning last card. Brian Hastings out of here. He'll take home $336,000. The local has to say goodnight. Let's see what he has to say.
The whole time it was kind of anybody's game, so no regrets. Definitely stings missing out, but I'll be back.
Well, with 3rd place going to Brian Hastings, we are now heads up. It's almost time to crown a champion. When we return, Scott Majerison and Faraz Jaka compete for the WPT title. Now, Scott, you've had quite a roller coaster throughout this tournament, but now you've got a nice bit of momentum. What's it going to take to keep that through to the end?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Faraz is a tough opponent, so just play hand by hand.
Now, you're sitting here at a televised final table, all your whole cards are being shown, you've got cameras in your face. Does that distract you from your regular game at all?
Maybe I was a little bit nervous in the beginning, just a little bit, but it went away quite fast. I don't really feel that much pressure, to be honest. No, it's just another tournament. It's a lot of money, but just try and forget about that.
Like a true pro, getting into the zone.
Do my best.
All right, well, good luck.
Thanks.
Now, you've played heads up for a WPT title before. How bad do you want it?
I mean, who doesn't want to win a WPT main event? I think the last time I was here heads up was about 8 years ago now, when I was new to the live scene. So it's pretty awesome to have a chance to a shot at the title again.
Yes, it's good to have you back. And let's see if you can do it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Faraz entering the heads-up match with a little under 11 million in chips. Scott with a nice lead above 28 million.
All right, this is what we've been waiting for, the heads-up battle for the championship. Here we go, action on Faraz Jaka. Ooh, seductive 9-8 of spades, gotta love that. And he's gonna make it 600,000 to go. But Scott, with a queen jack of spades.
I'm a little surprised Scott didn't move in pre-flop. They're just over 30 blinds deep. Queen jack suited is a very good all-in hand. Instead, he elects to call, and both players flop big on king jack 7-2 spades.
4 flush for Scott and the jacks, and a 6 on the turn. Now, that gives open-ended for Faraz as well, but this could get very expensive. Here's a bet. 800,000 by Scott, who's out in front with the jacks and the 4 flush.
Surprising check behind from Faraz on the flop. Of course, he will continue now on the turn, and he will drill a straight on the river.
Unbelievable, no spade, but just the perfect card for Faraz Jaka, hitting his straight. And he's got Scott betting. Wow, 1,650,000.
I do like this bet from Scott. In many cases, your jack is going to be good, and this is a nice way to get thin value. But we are staring Faraz and his straight in the face, so let's see how much he wants to play for.
10 seconds for Faraz.
All in.
He wants it all. He wants it all. Now the question is, will he get called?
8.5.
Scott lets it go.
Yeah.
Second pair, no good facing that all in. Faraz finds the card he needs on the river. Takes down a nice pot to start off this heads-up match.
Certainly does. Just too much heat, but the perfect card on the river for Faraz Jaka. The blinds are now up to 2 and 400 with a 50,000 ante. Winner's going to take home close to 700,000 here tonight. Scott is just calling with his 5-4. And Faraz has a pretty solid king 10. He is going to move it up, makes it a total of 1.3 million. And Scott has to say goodbye.
Yep, Scott folding his junky 5-4 on the button. So Faraz wins the first 2 hands of heads up.
It's getting on a little bit of a roll. That's what you need to do. Get hot at the right time. Will it be the night for Faraz Jaka to be a WPT champion this time? He's going to look down at a 7-5.
And now Faraz will complete on the button. Scott checks 10-5 in the big.
Up is a king 7-8, so 7s for Faraz. Nothing for Scott.
Yeah, just some backdoor draws for Scott here. But Faraz in the lead with bottom pair, checks this back. Turn is a 9. So Scott open-ended to the 10. Faraz with bottom pair and a gut shot to the 6, though were he to hit it, Scott would have the higher straight. Scott betting 650,000 into Faraz, who will make this call.
Down to the river we go. It's an ace. Doesn't change anything.
Well, Scott can only win by betting now. And so if he chooses to bet, the real decision is about sizing.
3 million.
And he's going way over pot. He's betting 3 million. Now, I will say, Vince, that when you go that big over pot, it tends to polarize your range towards very strong and very weak hands. So Faraz here with bottom pair is actually considering this. He's saying, well, if you have a really strong hand, how many combinations can you really have here? There's flushes and maybe a jack 10 or a 5-6 or something. But I don't think you're just betting 1.5x pot with a bare ace.
Faraz would be a hero if he should do it.
Oh, wow.
He's going for the hero here, and he's going to love himself.
My goodness.
just makes a tremendous call.
Scott's eyes just hit the ceiling.
That's just beautiful. That is a great, great call.
It's gonna work. I don't know if I even like it, Vince. I mean, if you're gonna call bottom pair, it seems like you gotta call a lot of hands other than that, and it seems you're calling too frequently, but that's me.
Faraz looking good. The heads-up battle will continue when we come back on the World Poker Tour. Stay with us. You know, Club WPT VIP members not only enjoy unlimited poker,
All right.
they also get access to hundreds of hours of great content, including past episodes of the World Poker Tour.
Take your game to the next level. Watch and play at clubwpt.com.
Well, you know, the Seminole Hard Rock is the center of poker in South Florida. No doubt about it. They have great cash games, fantastic tournaments. And you, Tony, you love it here, don't you?
Yeah, I absolutely love it here at Seminole Hard Rock. They always put on big tournaments with huge fields, and now I just got to get my win.
Yes, you do. Okay, we have a good one going on here right now, so let's go back down to the table.
All right, let's take a look at our updated leaderboard. Scott Majerison just barely out in front of Faraz Jaka. Faraz entered the heads-up match at a 3-1 disadvantage and has really narrowed the difference.
Yeah, Scott Majerison plays mostly online. Only played this tournament the last minute because his buddy said, you got to play it, give it a shot, and here he is with an opportunity to take home the title.
Well, same thing happened to Art Papazian earlier this season, and he ended up winning the Legends of Poker. Tell you what, Vince, next time I'm thinking about playing a poker tournament, I'm going to refuse until my friends convince me.
That's nice. The flop's at ace-7-6. Now, they both have sixes here on this flop.
Both of them with a backdoor straight draw. Scott's comes with a backdoor flush draw.
Deuce of hearts on the turn. So Scott with the better kicker here. And they once again go check, check. Down to the river we go. It's an 8.
Well, both players with fourth pair now, but seeing as there's been no betting, I expect a little money to go in on the river. That's right, it's going to be $900,000 from Faraz over to Scott, who, if he makes this call, will win the pot.
Man, Faraz seemingly betting for value, and he's not going to like it. He is outkicked. And Majerison will take that pot down. Okay, now the antes are 100,000, and the blinds are 3 and 600,000.
They're really getting up there now, Vince. Faraz has 18 million, but that's only good for 30 blinds at these stakes.
All right, it's on Faraz. He is going to just call with an 8-6. And Scott has a queen-6, says, let's go. And here's the flop. It's a 6-4-4. So they both catch sixes again.
Scott with the superior kicker, Faraz with the backdoor straight draw.
But Faraz is going to bet at 600.
$1.8.
Well, Scott's going to make it 1.8 now.
And Faraz is aware that many of Scott's check raises here are draws, and so he calls in position with the 6 and the backdoor draws.
Let's see what happens on 4th Street. 7 of clubs.
Well, that card actually pairs a number of the draws that Scott could potentially be check raising with. And so he checks over to Faraz, who checks behind. And we see a queen of clubs on the river that's going to make Scott feel pretty good about where he is in this hand.
Yep.
So now the question is, how much do you want to bet and try and get out of Faraz? What will convince Faraz that you have a diamond draw that is missed and is trying to take the pot away from him?
3.2.
Scott decides it's 3.2 million.
He'd love to get this call and absolutely crush Faraz.
Well, Faraz got sticky with bottom pair earlier in this heads-up match on the river. Is he going to get sticky again and end up paying off Scott? No, he makes a good fold.
Yeah, he does. He gets away with that. He figures it out. Scott Majerison taking down the pot. Not quite as much as he wanted, but It'll do.
Blinds and antes are so big now that you have to include a plaque in your big blind.
That is pretty big. Okay, Scott this time with a queen jack.
All in.
And he is just going to say all in.
Yeah, he just rips it in for Faraz's 25 blinds. Faraz says, I got ace-8 suited. That's a clear call.
It's about time we're getting all in. It's about time we're getting all in. Good luck.
Yeah, Faraz Jaka out in front with his ace-8 of clubs to turn this thing around.
Do you pot this a little bit, hope you lose?
Do I hope I lose? Come on. Yeah. Gotta be something wrong with me.
No, obviously.
Scott 5 cards away from this championship. Faraz wants to double up. What's going to happen?
Now, one of these guys is going to be a first-time WPT champion, and 2 pair on the flop for Scott.
Unbelievable.
Faraz now drawing to a 10, running clubs or running 2 pair. Otherwise, Scott is your champion in his first ever WPT cash.
2 cards away from the championship, and it's going to work out there. 7 of hearts.
Okay, now only a 10 would rob Scott of this pot and his first live title.
That's right, the 4 outer.
It's an ace, and that's not going to do it for Faraz. He'll make top pair, but Scott's 2 pair are going to hold up, and he is your champion at the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown.
Yeah, great effort by Scott Majerison. Taking down Faraz Jaka. Wow.
You know, obviously disappointed to not get the win, but at the same time, you know, I came in 6th. I was super short on day 4 as well, so, you know, super happy with the score. Obviously still want the title, so mixed emotions, I guess.
Well, we got a champion, Scott Majerison. He has done it. Now, Scott, congratulations. You almost didn't play this tournament, and tell us why you did play the tournament.
They made me come.
You did it with queens and jacks. You're going to take home nearly $700,000. Your name on the Champions Cup. You get the Hublot watch, the Big Bang Steel watch. This is very exciting. Let's hear for our WPT champion. Let's hear for Scott.
What a night for Scott Majerison, the Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown champion. We're so glad that you can join us for this winning moment, and we'll see you next time on the WPT.
The World Poker Tour is sponsored by Zynga Poker. Go all in. Play the world's largest home game on Zynga Poker today.
I can outplay these guys. Got my shot. Got this. If I get the card, I prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
In Las Vegas, being a champion definitely has its privileges. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the World Poker Tour. I'm Lynn Gilmartin. This is the WPT Tournament of Champions, the season-ending pinnacle event where poker's elite put it all on the line in hopes of being crowned the champion of champions. This season, the luxurious Aria Resort and Casino played host to a very prestigious field. Eligibility for this 15K freeze-out was reserved exclusively for any title holder from all 16 seasons of the World Poker Tour, which assured that the tables would be stacked with worthy competitors.
I don't think there's any better title than a WPT title, so really excited to be here.
You don't just win WPTs by being lucky. You can, but not likely.
Every season 16 main event champion had already earned their seat here, and we're eager to keep their run good going. Art Papazian has had a red-hot debut on the tour, taking 2 titles, plus the Hublot WPT Player of the Year honours.
It's just cool to play with people that I get to see on television. When I was a young kid, just learning the game. That's really fun.
For Macau-based Pete Chen, winning the first ever WPT Beijing was extra special.
I still remember I was like shaking when I win the tournaments. When the last river card dealt, it's like, oh, I really finally won the tournament. So it's like really exciting.
And with Pete's continued success, he was awarded the first ever WPT Asia Pacific Player of the Year trophy. Darren Elias also had an honor to celebrate. By taking down the inaugural Bobby Baldwin Classic, Darren scored a remarkable 4th title, the most in WPT history. While many WPT winners have remained active on the circuit, this unique event drew out players we don't see too often, including Paul Phillips, who won in Season 2, and Mike Vella, who took his title in Season 6. Season 9 Seminole Hard Rock Poker Showdown champ Taylor von Kriegenberg has been teaching rambunctious 3rd graders. So how does it compare to the poker life?
Teaching's way harder, and you get paid way less.
Nick Schulman has seen a lot of changes to the poker scene since he took his WPT title back in Season 4.
It's been such a big evolution just as far as the amount of shared knowledge amongst the community, poker-wise, and also just such an influx of young talent, a much wider player pool, and there's just been a deep evolution in that sense.
By the time registration ended, 80 WPT champions had joined the field, going after a prize pool of $1.3 million. Only 10 contenders would make the money, with nearly $500,000 cash reserved for the champion of champions. Between the tough field, the 30-second action clock, and the freeze-out structure, getting to the end proved to be a daunting task.
The event has not been going great. I've lost every hand I've played, but that's poker.
Started with 50, I got like 85, so good start. Let's see if we can keep going.
That gives you an extra year to train.
Season 11 WPT Player of the Year Matt Salzberg sent his last 30 blinds into the pot with a flopped set versus David Benjamin's top pair. But with runner-runner hearts, David landed the nut flush and raked in his rewards. There were more trips to the rail in the last level of the night. When action ended, 29 had endured to bag up a good day's work. Poker legend Eric Seidel and top pro JC Tran found themselves among the big stacks. But at the top of the leaderboard with a huge chip lead was Dennis Blyden, a recreational player who recently took down the LAPC. And his confidence remained robust.
We gotta win. I know that. I just don't know how it's gonna happen.
As day 2 commenced, the remaining champions knew they were in the home stretch and that fortunes could change quickly.
Feeling good. Finished strong yesterday. So try to keep it going today.
When I'm short and I have a bunch of bigger stacks next to me, I'm just going to look for the light opens and hopefully get my money in good or a fold.
A lot of good players, right? So you adjust on the fly, and hopefully they give me aces every few hands. The only way I can beat them all.
Out of the blocks, action was fast and furious, boosting some contenders up and moving those less fortunate out. Maneuvering and massive swings are all part of this game. Having already sent home 3 challengers in the first level of the day, British pro Scott Majerison was carving a sweet wave. But the water was choppy for recreational player Dennis Blyden, who dinged his top of the day chip lead after dumping half his stack. The tides turned after Scott dove his open-ended draw right into Dennis's flopped straight, scoring Dennis a gnarly double up. In short order, Scott was done for, along with a few other choice pros. Even with pocket kings, Tyler Patterson was uneasy with all his chips in the middle against Matthew Waxman's lucky sevens. Turns out, Tyler had reason to worry. Meanwhile, Darren Elias was at odds with the Erics. First, he doubled up through Eric Afriat, and then through Eric Seidel, before sending them both home, just before the money bubble.
I can bust the bubble.
Lithuanian pro Matas Simbolas got his wish as he landed a jack on the turn and shut down Dennis Blyden's roller coaster of a day.
Good luck, guys. Later, man.
Minutes later, Justin Young shipped in his last 10 big blinds with King 10 off against Darren Elias's suited connector.
Got it in good, guys.
The flop left Darren ahead with a pair of eights. And it was a swing and a miss for Justin.
After I was a short stack for the last hour and a half, I'm quite pleased to min cash.
As the remaining 9 sat down at one super stacked table, Sam Panzica had his eye on just one player.
I'd say I'm worried about Darren. He hasn't really lost an all-in yet today.
True to form, Darren quickly eliminated Season 4 WPT champ Nam Lee, leaving the field just 2 away from the TV final table. Holding ace-king, Sam Panzica hit the gas, and Marta Simbolas made an easy call with pocket kings. The flop gave Sam some backdoor outs, but nothing hit. And Sam had to settle for a $45K payday.
One of the coolest guys at this table was.
There was 3-way action on the very next hand. Ryan Reese moved all in with ace-jack. JC Tran went over the top holding ace-king, but Darren Elias picked up pocket kings in the big blind and had them both covered. The flop didn't change much, and by the turn, Ryan was drawing dead. Once again, the kings held. The shorter stack, Ryan, took home 7th place money, while JC earned nearly $70,000 for 6th place.
Is this the first 5-handed WPT final table in history?
While not the first time, a WPT 5-handed final table is quite rare, which seems only fitting for a tournament and field this special.
Guys, here we are with our last final table of season 16, and it's quite an interesting lineup. Break it down for me.
Well, Lynn, this is the best of the best. The champs are going at it tonight, only 5 of them. And who is leading the field? Of course, the great Darren Elias. The man is the modern-day version of Stewie Unger. He has dominated fields for the last 3 or 4 years, 4 WPT titles to his name, but in second chip position, right behind him, who has a lot of chips, is Matas Simbolas, who's very tough, and you played a final table with him.
Yeah, Matas, a really excellent player, giving us some European representation tonight, along with David Benjamin, who was once from Paris and now lives in Las Vegas. Haven't seen him too much on the WPT over the last few years, but we're very happy to have him back tonight. Meanwhile, another man with great memories from Paris is Matt Waxman, who won our Grand Prix de Paris in Season 10. Has also stepped away from poker a little bit, but still clearly has the talent to make a major final table. And last but not least is Nick, the Takeover Schulman, an excellent commentator and poker player, proving tonight that he can get it done off the felt and on.
You're so right, Tony. Old school players making the final table. Very interesting. It's going to be great. Can't wait for it to start.
And there is so much at stake tonight. Our winner is going to receive a $50,000 JetSmarter membership, a BBO poker table, a beautiful set of Baccarat crystal flutes, the impressive Hublot Big Bang Unico titanium ceramic watch, plus close to $500,000. Wow, what an impressive list of prizes. The final table is ready to start, so let's head over to the felt.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Let's have a look at our Zynga Poker leaderboard. Darren Elias out front at 1.4 million, followed by Matas Simbolas at 1.1 million, and then 3 players are essentially tied in 3rd place. And at our Tournament of Champions final table, we'll be playing with a big blind ante, which means instead of all 5 players separately sending in an ante, the big blind will pay a full ante for the entire table.
And the big blind ante right now is 10,000. Nick Schulman folds his hand, and Matas will not play. And David Benjamin also chooses to go away.
They say the first pot's unlucky.
Darren Elias with King, Queen of Hearts, though. He is the chip leader, 4-time champion, and he will move it up to 35,000 to go.
And I would not expect Darren to return very much of Matt's table talk.
And Matt Waxman, poker pro out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Tough player has a miserable looking 10-6, but will make this call.
Just enough hand to take a flop in position when you're in the big blind, and flop an open-ended straight draw.
But Darren hits top pair, and he's going to check it.
Yeah, I like this check from Darren. That's a board where you don't really want to see a lot of money go in when you have one pair.
Matt Waxman, open-ended, will bet 35,000. Elias, will he get tricky and re-raise here? Top pair, straight draw possibility, and he will just call it. Here we go. Good pot. Turn is an 8 there. Waxman hits his straight.
Darren now needs a 10 in order to seize this hand from Matt. Otherwise, his straight to the queen is going to be good and take down some chips here.
Waxman, he could check it and play it tricky, but no, he's going to put the chips out. 85,000.
And I don't expect Darren to fold yet. He still has top pair with the gut shot, and your opponent can have a lot of hands in the big blind that see a flop here. Whoa.
Gotta make this fold.
That was surprising. I guess Darren wins WPTs by seeing through people's cards. Jeez.
Guess I got the unlucky one. I guess I got the unlucky one.
Wow, Matt Waxman taking the first hand. He's 33 years old. He enjoys yoga, he loves golf, movies, loves to travel. An adventurous guy. And we move on. Modest now, Symbolis from Lithuania.
Modest was at the last World Series final table that I made. We actually played a pretty big pot together, and he had quite a reaction afterwards.
A lot of bonding to be done there at those final tables.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, we got a raise here from David Benjamin. 25,000. Nick Schulman wants to see a little bit of that. He has a 9-7. Here we go. Queen Jack versus 9-7. The flop is a king, a deuce.
A better board for David, the aggressor, in position.
He will make the continuation bet 25,000.
Nick, with really just a backdoor to the straight, makes the call on the flop.
Queen hits David Benjamin.
And Benjamin is not going to slow down here. He recognizes that their turn puts multiple draws out there.
Nick Schulman with zip and pip here. He will do the right thing and get out of this one. So David Benjamin from France, take it down. Hand number 2 at the final table here at the WPT Tournament of Champions.
Experience the thrill of the WPT on your phone. Play the new WPT Tournament Center in Zynga Poker. Available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook.
To be a champion, you need to spend 100% of your time and put all efforts, all hard work, and expect for the best.
To be a champion, you have to be mentally strong, and you have to be fluid. You have to be flexible and able to adjust to what the table gives you.
There's a combination of things: dedication, lots of work, talent, timing, and luck.
The number one element is luck. But I'd definitely say hard work has a lot to do with it as well. And maybe even aggression is a big deal to win these tournaments.
Obsession is a start. You know, champions are usually obsessed with what they do, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, you heard from 5 great players what it takes to become a WPT champion. One of these great players will become our 3rd champion of champions.
Maybe some others.
And Darren Elias is going to fold his hand into Matt Waxman. They call him Waxy.
No, they don't, but I wish they did.
No, that's his nickname, I heard.
Really?
Yes, Waxy.
I never heard that on the tour. I learned something new today.
Get with it now.
Okay.
And Waxy has raised it to 25,000 with a 9-10 of clubs. And everybody folds but David Benjamin, the Frenchman. He'll stick around with King Jack. Let's see the flop. Ace Queen 4.
A better flop for Matt as the aggressor, and he does have backdoor draws to the clubs or to the straight.
Waxy has bet 15,000.
David has enough here that against a small bet of 15,000, I would not expect him to fold king high.
And he's going to make this call. Ace hits, pairs the board.
That should slow things down.
Matt, with zip and pip now, nothing. He's going to just continue to bet 45,000, and it's going to work.
Nice bet by Matt there. A lot of players slow down when the board pairs, but Matt recognizes that he really has no way to win were he to check, and so he takes one more shot at Benjamin and gets the fold.
Very daring, bold play by Waxy, and we move on. Waxy says he loves to explore the world. Just an adventurous guy, interesting guy. And he's going to fold his hand, as does Nick Schulman. And now Modest Cymbalis from Lithuania with the sevens.
Modest, a tough European player who heavily travels the circuit. He won a WPT in the UK in season 13.
He raised it up here to 25,000, and now Darren Elias with an ace-3 of spades. Contemplating this decision. These are the two chip leaders, and we will see a flop. Sevens versus ace-3, and the flop is an ace-5 fourth, but there's 3 hearts.
Darren does take the lead here, but you see Mata still has 37% equity. He can catch a heart, a 7, or a running straight.
Well, he is going to bet at 20,000. Darren going to call this. So the two chip leaders in a nice little pot. Jack on the turn. Darren's going to check again. Check, check, they go. 9 of spades on the river. So Elias looking good here.
Well, Darren will definitely have some missed heart draws here that want to bluff, and so you see him betting for thin value with top pair.
65,000. And Modest does the right thing. He's going to lay that down. So Darren Elias extends his chip lead here today.
We'll be right back with more from Esports Arena Las Vegas and the WPT Tournament of Champions. Welcome back to the WPT Tournament of Champions, hosted by Aria Resort and Casino. We've got a good one going.
But before we get back to the action, let's get a glimpse of the VIP experience at the Zynga Poker WPT 500.
We welcome you to the Zynga Poker WPT 500 Las Vegas. We're at the beautiful Aria. This is going to be one of the great events of all time. Good luck today.
Zynga is awesome, it really is. You know, and I love it. I love the action.
The adrenaline rush, the excitement of betting it all in.
The thing about Zynga is you're going to see so much action there. It lets you see so many different combinations of hands.
If you're age, I'm going to put you in trouble.
It's an easy way to learn. The more games you play, you advance pretty rapidly. So I keep playing.
The thing I love most about Zynga Poker, it's accessible. You can play it anywhere and everywhere. It's competitive, and you get a chance to sharpen your skills.
I bet too much, huh?
This is a lesson learned. This has been a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I've gotten to meet some very nice people.
Hi.
All right, this will be fun. Zynga has been very sweet and kind to us, and it's like being a child in the candy store. It's been a blast.
You have all the fans in the audience.
Well, once my husband.
Having a chance to compete and to see if I could play with the real players that play for the WPT and are part of Zynga, I'm ecstatic. It's an amazing feeling. I'm just happy for the opportunity. I'm happy that Zynga has its platform and allows us to play. I hoped I could do it. I thought I could do it. To actually do it is amazing. I will never forget this for the rest of my life. This is a phenomenal experience. Thank you, Zynga.
Congratulations, Hugh Grant. He took home $26,000 at the WPT 500. Well done.
Yeah, you can elevate your game on the WPT Tournament Center on Zynga Poker, where you can play all different kinds of games against players around the world and perhaps realize the dream of becoming a WPT champion.
All right, now we're back at the Esports Arena. Winner getting close to 500,000 here. Let's go to the table. Nick Schulman. First to act, he's got a big ace-queen of clubs. He'll make it 25,000 to go. Modest, the second one to act. He's got a king-queen. Oh, look at this, Tony. He's going to re-raise to 80.
I like this 3-bet from Modest. He's turning his hand into a bluff pre-flop, And I think that's wise when the 3 players behind you are likely to squeeze if they have something strong. Instead, Modest has run into a very real hand here from Nick, who is not going to be folding. Now, is it a call or an all-in?
All in?
It's an all-in.
He's going to push it all in with the ace-queen of clubs.
So Modest didn't get the result he wanted, but I still think he played this hand well.
And Modest right now is swearing under his breath in Lithuanian as he folds his hand, saying, what the heck did I do that for? Gets his wrist slapped right there. Nick Schulman taking down that pot. Action on the Frenchman, David Benjamin, 46 years old, out of Paris, France. He's not going to play that now. Darren Elias behind him with an ace-9. He's getting out the raising chips. Yeah, he'll make it 22,000 to go. Waxy goes out.
Now over to Nick Schulman. Had an ace-queen suited last hand, now ace-queen offsuit. He's in the small blind and will re-raise to 80,000.
Worked from last time. Modest goes out, and now Darren Elias
500.
with the ace-9 is thinking this through.
About 500 back, a little more.
And Darren quickly uses a time bank chip before the action clock had really ticked away too far on him. And he does get away.
Nice fold by Darren Elias. Nick Schulman, 2 nice ace-queens back-to-back. Very well done.
Nick Schulman, congratulations.
That was, it was a good moment when I won Foxwoods. It was a long time ago. It was almost 13 years.
That's gonna do it. Nick Schulman has done it, Vince.
It feels good to win when it's what you do with your life. You're overwhelmed with just a release of adrenaline. And at that time, I won a little over $2 million, which was really kind of obscene. It was a great feeling. You know, I was very thankful for that one.
21 years old, he has taken this title.
I'm not sure what attracts me the most to poker at this point. I'm kind of just thankful that I still enjoy playing. I like preparing, I like playing, I like competing, and I'm always down to try my best, so what else is there?
Yeah, that's Nick Schulman. What a player he is. And now he has moved up into 3rd chip position, as you can see, close to 650 here tonight.
Nick Schulman, great player, great commentator, and very humble about his success.
He's got a pair of deuces. He likes it. He'll make it 25,000 to go. And now, Darren Elias won't play his 8-6, but Waxy, Matt Waxman with ace-5 of spades will play. Here we go with the flop. It's a king 10-8. No help to Waxy. He's going to check.
I'm not sure if Nick will bet here. His pair is vulnerable, but that's a pretty coordinated board. I don't think he expects Matt to fold that flop too often. You do see him check.
Yeah, they go check, check, going to the turn. It is another 8, so that pairs the board.
And the 8 is a good card for Nick.
Matt Waxman first to act. He's going to check again. Now Schulman's saying, wait a second. Maybe he's got nothing, and I can bet this and just take it with my silly deuces. Yes, that's what I want to do. 25,000. Oh, but when you have a pro on your right that's been around the block a few times, this is what happens to you. He's going to come over the top with a raise, 65.
So ace high is not the hand I would choose to bluff with here. I think diamonds or a straight draw makes more sense, but this tells me that Matt is willing to make a play based on his live reads, perhaps picked up some weakness in Nick's demeanor and decided to pounce on it.
Can Schulman make this call? No, he's got to fold it. Waxy got to pick it up with ace high. Solid poker we're seeing here tonight. All right, welcome back to the World Poker Tour. We are at the WPT Tournament of Champions, having a great time all week long. And Tony, I know you played the tournament. You were a champion. Didn't work out for you, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got busted out pretty early in the TOC. Such an awesome event, and I'd really love to make a run one year.
But still, we had a great time this week. You're
Enjoying the Aria?
Oh, the Aria is my favorite property in Las Vegas. It's an amazing hotel. It has the best hotel gym I've ever been to, incredible dining options, and easily my favorite poker room in Las Vegas.
That's a great poker room. I played the cash game, did pretty well, won some money, even me.
No way.
So anybody can do it.
Don't make stuff up.
But right now, we got the Tournament of Champions going on the final table, so let's check the chip count and get back down to it.
Okay, well, let's see those chip counts. Darren Elias still out in front, being chased by Modest Simbalis. Matthew Waxman moving up that leaderboard to 640. Nick Schulman and David Benjamin rounding out the field.
Modest Simbalis, 10-8 of spades. He will raise to 25,000. And the Frenchman folds. Darren Elias also folds. Waxy out, and now Nick Schulman with a 9-10. He'll make the call.
And as it turns out, he is dominating Modest in this hand.
King 9 deuce on the flop. That's great for Schulman. He's going to check it. But Modest will make the continuation bet of 20,000. Call by Nick with the 9s. Here we go to the turn. It's a 6. So that gives a straight draw now to Modest. Nick's going to check the 9s.
And Modest has picked up a gut shot, but elects to check here.
Yeah, hoping to get lucky, and he does so with the 7. What a card! Modest hitting this straight. Nick's gonna check, try to get in cheap here.
And now the question for Modest is bet sizing. There's 105,000 in the pot. If you think your opponent has a king, how much will he call? If you think your opponent has a 9, how much will he call? Well, what is it you think he has?
Oh, wow, look at this. A little trickery here. Modest is going to take some more time, like he doesn't know what to do.
I wonder if it'll work. I'm not sure if Nick will really buy that as him needing more time to consider this, or think it's sort of a play at him.
95,000? That's a pretty big bet.
I'm not sure what I think of a bet that size. I don't know if that makes Nick more or less likely to call with second pair. It's going to depend on his read here. He's bet close to full pot. I'm not sure how Nick will interpret this. He is going to authentically use a dominating chip.
He's saying, is this guy stealing? No, he believes him, and it's a nice fold by Nick Schulman. Modest Simbalis hitting lucky on the river, taking this one down.
I'm joined by Jim Tornabene, Senior Membership Executive with JetSmarter. Now, Jim, how does JetSmarter work?
So JetSmarter is a global community of flyers. We created an innovative alternative to flying private, much different than the old traditional private jet solutions where you can download our app, book a single seat or an entire plane depending on where you need to be.
Very cool.
Yeah,
So it's making private jet flying much more accessible to any budget.
That's right. A lot of people think you have to be part of the uber wealthy to fly private. With JetSmarter now, you can fly on a private jet for a cost of a first-class commercial seat.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, yeah.
And tonight's champion is going to receive a $50,000 JetSmarter membership.
Yeah,
What does that entitle them to?
So it's the highest level of our program. It's $50,000 per year, and it gives you complimentary seats, discounts on flights, even white glove service, 24/7 concierge team to help book your arrangements and get you into some pretty exclusive events, just like ones that we have here today. So.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Well, thank you, Lynn. Now back to the action here. 5-handed poker, and the blinds are going up to 6 and 12.
$1 million?
Yeah, like over a bit.
Guys, I'm even.
Even?
David Benjamin with a quick fold.
Not for long, though, I predict.
Darren Elias won't play. Matt Waxman taking a breather. Now Nick Schulman with a king-queen. And he just calls.
A lot of professionals like to just call strong hands in the small blind to protect all those times they will just call weaker hands.
But Modest behind him with a king-jack will make the raise.
So Nick limps and then calls a raise from Modest with king queen. He is dominating going to the flop, but gets outflopped on 9-9 jack.
Modest Cymbalis hitting his jacks. Shulman's going to check. Modest has had 2 cashes on the World Poker Tour, 1 final table. He took the title down. He has put in a bet of 30,000 with top pair.
Nick still has 2 overcards and a gut shot to the 10.
Nick Shulman makes this call. And gets his 10.
Man, make a wish.
Gets the straight, and now he's going to trap. He makes the check. Let's see if Cymbalis falls into the ditch here.
And Modest still has quite a strong hand here with top pair and a gut shot to the straight Nick already has. So he's going to bet for 65,000 and try and get more value.
Nick Shulman going to look back down. He's got the straight. Is he going to buy more time and pretend like he needs more time? Yes, he is.
Now, we've seen more fake use of the time bank chip than real use.
That's the beauty of it. And he is going to put in the raise. Boy, that's a nice solid lay down by Modest Cymbalis. Doesn't give Nick any more chips. Real tough event we're seeing.
We asked fans of the World Poker Tour to send in questions, and now we've got your answers in the WPT Tournament of Champions Ask Me Anything, sponsored by Club WPT. Now, Vince, our first question is for you. Dave from Laramie, Wyoming writes, how much does the WPT Champions Cup weigh, and how many winners' name plaques are on it?
Well, Dave, great question, and I know the answer. All right, first of all, it's 26.5 pounds. I've lifted it.
There it is, right there.
It's heavy. And there's exactly 162 players' names on that cup. That's it.
Precise.
I just guessed.
It's unbelievable. And it's heavy.
This one is for Tony from Ken Edgecombe of Houston, Texas. Tony, what is your most memorable Raw Deal segment?
My most memorable Raw Deal segment was when Chino Ream got heads up against Eric Lindgren, and I needed to come up with a way to complement their play while criticizing their conduct.
Some would say Eric stole that pot from Chino. Others would say he Chino'd him.
How'd that work out?
I love the way it turned out, but I'm not sure those two did.
And finally, Bob from Memphis, Tennessee has a question for me. Do you play, and have you cashed in any tournaments? Hope you're having some fun too. Well, thanks, Bob. I am having a lot of fun, and yes, I do indeed play. I love cash games and tournaments. I even won a tournament before, so that trophy sits proudly above my television. Thanks to everyone for the great questions. We look forward to seeing you all at the tables on clubwpt.com, where you can win a share of $100,000 monthly in cash and prizes.
All right, we're back to the table here. Darren Elias, 4-time WPT champion, is our chip leader with close to 1.3 million in chips.
Modest Cymbalis and Matt Waxman trying to chase him down. David Benjamin and Nick Shulman rounding out the field. Nobody really short at this stage.
Great poker we are seeing here tonight by these champions. Quick fold by Matt Waxman, Nick Shulman as well. Modest Cymbalis with an ace deuce, likes his hand, makes it 30,000. Benjamin goes out.
Darren Elias with King Jack suited has a decision. Some players like to call these spots, others 3-bet them. How will Darren play it?
Darren thinking this through, and he's going to put in the raise. Makes it a total of 100 back on Modest, who's had enough. Darren Elias will take this one down. Now, Darren is 31 years old, lives in Medford, New Jersey. His nickname is the End Boss.
I will say that the nickname, the N Boss, seems to sort of transfer over every couple of years. You know, it used to be Tony Gregg was the N Boss, and then, you know, some guy online was the N Boss, and now Darren Elias is the N Boss. So I feel like you have to hold the title of N Boss.
All I know is he's won 4 WPT championships.
He's our N Boss.
Yes. All right, into this hand, Darren, this time with a 10-8 of diamonds. Appears he likes it. Will make a raise to 25,000. Waxy here with a queen jack of clubs just calling. Schulman priced in with a 9-7 of spades. He'll stick around. Three-way action.
And everybody's sort of sharing outs here, but they've got their own suits.
Flop king 8-9, 2 spades.
So Nick connects best with this flop, holding second pair and a spade flush draw. Bottom pair for Darren. Gut shot with a backdoor flush draw for Matt.
They all check. And the turn card is a spade for Schulman, hitting the flush. Look at the cat that swallowed the canary.
Nick's got it locked up now. It's a matter of how do you get the money. At this point, Darren is checked behind. The 5 of spades is unlikely to be a card that will elicit him to bet. And so Nick fires out 65,000.
Darren just with 8s at this point. Can't think he's going to call. He goes out. Waxman, not with much either, but he's such a tricky player, you never know, but he does the right thing. Nick Schulman taking that pot down.
We'll be back with more from the esports arena in a moment.
How many daily tournaments are there to win on ClubWPT.com?
Well, there's Hold'em, Omaha, Pot Limit, No Limit, Free Roll, Qualifier, Tournament, Headphone Putters, and even WPT main event packages. That's a lot.
Poker tournaments all day, every day. ClubWPT.com.
This episode is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, the official soft drink of the World Poker Tour. Hublot, the official watch of the World Poker Tour. Rockstar Energy, the official energy drink of the World Poker Tour. And Club WPT. Play poker for real cash and prizes today at ClubWPT.com.
We are back on the World Poker Tour. This tournament started at Aria a few days ago with 80 WPT champions, now down to 5. Darren Elias, the man to beat.
He's got close to 1.4 million in chips. Out in front, 5-handed poker. Here we go. Action on Nick Schulman, the New Yorker. And he gets a very seductive 6-7 of diamonds. And he will raise to 25. Lithuanian goes out. The Frenchman also can't play. He's been pretty cool lately. Not picking up any hands, but Darren Elias does pick up a hand, king, queen of clubs.
Darren with one of those hands that some players call pre-flop, others 3-bet. How does the end boss want to play this one?
Well, you gotta love his poker face. You just don't know what he has. He doesn't have to put the sunglasses on or the hoodie, nothing like that. He just is very stoic, does his thing. He's gonna raise this.
You're absolutely right, Vince. Darren's such a stoic guy. I've known him for 10 years, and I don't have a clue if he likes me or not.
His father's a football coach, and Darren was an excellent athlete. He was a polo player, water polo.
And a creative writing major, which is, surprising to me for a guy who doesn't use words.
I'm not sure he'll like you saying that, but okay, Nick Schulman's going to go out.
I mean that he's quiet. Not that he doesn't have words, he just doesn't use them.
I've seen him at the bar. He's not that quiet.
You got me there.
Darren Elias, he has over $3 million in WPT earnings. 29 cashes. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
4 titles and 29 cashes. That's just mind-blowing.
Lives in Medford, New Jersey. He's a family man with one little daughter. This hand, Benjamin going out, and now Darren with just a 9-7. He also elects to fold. Matt Waxman picking up the real hand. Pair of queens. Yeah, he'll make it 35,000. Waxman has not picked up too many exciting hands. This time the real hand, but Nick Schulman behind him with ace-10 makes the call. Modest goes out.
I find it interesting that Matt made it an almost 3x raise pre-flop, kind of old school, but troubling flop for Nick Schulman. Top pair, top kicker, well behind the queens of Matt.
Absolutely. Schulman thinking he flopped a great flop. Little does he know. And there goes the bet, the continuation bet of 40,000. comes the call. This could get very interesting, and the turn is another diamond. 3 of diamonds. So Shulman doesn't have a diamond. He's got 10s with the big kicker. Waxman with queens with a diamond.
That third diamond should prevent Nick from getting too hurt in this hand, but it also means there are more hands that Matt could be potentially semi-bluffing with, so Nick cannot get away at this stage.
Nick perhaps looks back to see if he had a diamond. He doesn't, just top pair, big kicker. He's going to make this call, and he wants to hit a 10 or an ace without a diamond. That would be some suck out. Can he do it? No, it's a 5.
Check.
Nice card from Matt here. Misses all the draws he could have potentially had. Isn't very concerned that Nick has trips.
140.
And he wants more. Value bet, 140.
And Nick is getting over 3-1 here. Seems like a really tough fold when there are some hands your opponent can be bluffing with.
Queens.
He's gonna cover his eyes and call. Don't show it to me. No!
Oh man, that is a big hit against Nick Shulman. Waxy taking it down with the queens.
Well, that's all for tonight. Join us next time for more of the WPT Tournament of Champions.
The World Poker Tour is sponsored by Zynga Poker. Go all in. Play the world's largest home game on Zynga Poker today.
I can help play these guys. Got my shot. Got this. If I get the card, I prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
Here at Esports Arena Las Vegas, the game continues, and we will see who can rack up the highest score. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the World Poker Tour. I'm Lynn Gilmartin, and tonight we are bringing you coverage of the season-ending WPT Tournament of Champions. On hand to call the action are Tony Dunst and Vince Van Patten.
Lynn, it's always great. The Tournament of Champions, really exciting. Who can take down the great Darren Elias the way he's been running lately? Maybe Matt Waxman, who has a lot of chips as well.
Yeah, Matt Waxman, a very tough player. Been out of poker for a little while. Meanwhile,
Matas Simbolis, the young Lithuanian in third place, looking for his second WPT title. He's being chased by David Benjamin and Nick Shulman, a couple of old school names in the poker world who have had a lot of success in the live circuit over the years, trying to make a big splash here tonight.
Great players going at it. This is a lot of fun.
Well, it's not game over yet for these remaining players. There is so much on the line, including close to $500,000 first place prize, a handsome Hublot Big Bang Unico titanium ceramic watch, a BBO poker table, a $50,000 JetSmarter membership, and a beautiful set of Baccarat crystal flutes, because everything tastes better in Baccarat. Cards are back in the air, so let's head over to the final table.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Let's have a look at our Zynga poker leaderboard. Darren Elias still well out in front, being chased by Matt Waxman and Matas Simbolis. Nick Shulman and David Benjamin are shorter stacks, hanging around 35 blinds.
The antes now are 12,000. Blinds are 6 and 12.
We are playing with the big blind ante format at this final table, which means one player in the big blind pays the ante for everyone around the table, instead of everybody committing a small amount of chips.
Matas Simbolis from Lithuania is going to raise with a Jack 5. Darren Elias, 4-time WPT champion, has called. And the flop is a beautiful ace, 4-3, 2 spades. Good for Darren Elias.
Massive flop for Darren. Matas here really just has a gut shot to the deuce and is betting his position.
It's a continuation bet of 20,000. Darren, poker pro they call end boss, is going to re-raise with his huge drawing hand. Makes it 70 to go.
Darren has all the outs in the world here. A deuce, 6, or spade would give him the best hand. And so that raise is going to take it down for him.
Darren Elias has taken home over $3 million in WPT earnings. Quite a player. 29 cashes on the World Poker Tour.
29 cashes and 4 wins. He is winning over 10% of the tournaments he cashes.
That's pretty amazing. All right, he is folded. And now Matt Waxman, they call him Waxy, has an ace-8, and he'll make it 35,000 to go. Nick goes out, and Modest now with an attractive ace-queen.
Well, Modest is in the small blind here. Some players 3-bet this hand, others call. Modest this time wants to go with a call.
David Benjamin from France goes out, so two-way action, ace-queen versus ace-8. And the flop is a 5-3 deuce. Modest will check it. They both check, go into the turn. It's a queen. Beautiful card there for Modest. And he is going to check it. Try to trap here a little bit, perhaps.
Now, Modest checking over to Matt, looking for the check raise, but instead, Matt checks behind, and we see a 6 on the river.
And Modest will bet the queens.
So 4 to a straight out there, but a very unlikely hand for Modest to be holding. So I wonder if Matt intends to fold his ace high to 1-bet.
Matt Waxman loves to steal pots, and he's been very successful at this final table doing so tonight. Doesn't always have to have the hand to win it.
Yeah, Matt is a sticky player. He fights for pots, and the action clock is ticking down on him here as he contemplates this call, which he's going to make. So Modest does get a little value with top pair.
Matt Waxman going to pay him off. Modest going to take that one down.
This week has been filled with intense poker action, but we managed to squeeze in some fun by attending an exclusive party at the Hublot Boutique.
Hublot is the art of fusion. The art of fusion in its capacity to combine exotic material with Swiss traditional watchmaking. This is really the DNA of Hublot. Hublot is also the art of fusion in its capacity to combine different worlds. And we are here tonight for a perfect illustration of that, with the fusion of the watchmaking and the art of poker. Hublot has been a partner of the World Poker Tour for 4 years now. And we see a lot of natural crossover between the Hublot watch collector and the world of poker. The latest addition to the family was launched in Asia at the end of last year, was a full ceramic piece limited to 188 pieces for the world. So very, very exclusive timepiece. We're not the traditional watch brand. Hublot is very cool, edgy, original, and I think we tend to see a lot of that in the younger generation.
Well, I had such a good time at the Hublot party. Much thanks to them for hosting us and for giving our winner a beautiful timepiece.
And now we go back down to the table, 5-handed. Action on Nick Schulman, who lives in Las Vegas now. And he folds his hand. Modest, he goes out. The Frenchman also not going to play. It's around to Darren Elias, and he has a king-8.
Benjamin a little tight on his button with the fold of Jack-7. Darren limps in the small blind. We talked about how many professional players like to limp most of their range in the small blind. Limping their stronger hands allows them to protect the times they limp a weaker hand. Here, Darren has a medium strength hand and calls this raise from Matt.
Flop comes up, it's a queen 8-6. So Darren getting lucky on that flop.
He has outflopped Matt here. Check, check on the flop. And a deuce on the turn. No help for either player. Darren now going to make a value bet with second pair.
Matt with just a king-jack.
Well, Matt really likes fighting for pots. He doesn't have a draw. He has 3 clean outs to the jack. But it's going to work. Darren folds second pair, and so the aggression from Matt really paying off at this final table.
I'm joined by Kevin Quintanilla with Protection Poker. Now, Kevin, what is Protection Poker?
Protection Poker is a poker variant. It'll give players protection in the pot. So if you get in with the best of it, you're protected, and you get a portion of the pot back if you actually end up losing the hand. For example, I go all in with aces, you call with queens, then I end up losing because you get a queen on the river. I wouldn't lose my entire investment. I would actually get a portion of the pot back to me.
It's a great idea. Thank you so much.
Well, big thanks to Protection Poker for providing the action clock, which has made all of our lives faster and easier.
Darren Elias, 4-time WPT champion, well out in front with $1.4 million as we go down to the felt. And right now it's on Matt Waxman. Quick fold by him. Nick Schulman folding ace-5. Modest out, and now finally the Frenchman picking up the big hand, pair of kings.
Well, we talked about limping in the small blind with your strong hands to protect your weak ones, and David shares that philosophy.
Well, he wants the chip leader to come over the top, but that's not going to happen. Darren with just a jack deuce, not going to fall into any traps. Wants to see a flop. Here we go. And the flop is a massive jack deuce 5 here. Darren Elias flopping 2 pair.
Disaster for David Benjamin, who was hoping to be able to play a big pot post-flop with his kings. If that were to happen now, he would lose a big pot.
Oh, boy. So Darren has bet just a measly 15, getting called. And now it only gets better for Darren Elias.
That jack should prevent David from getting stacked. Before, I think if the turn was a brick, he would have looked to get a lot of money in. Now, he's just going to be calling down.
35,000 has been bet. Elias with his full house already. Benjamin's got to make that call. Going to the river. Has to hit a king here. Not to be. 4 clubs on the river.
That 4 is an interesting card because if Darren was semi-bluffing with a hand like 4-3 or 6-4, he's now made a pair that he can check and just try and show down with. The fact that he's betting again and betting so big means his range has become polarized between strong hands like straights and trip jacks and weak hands like spades that are just bluffing. David here with a really tough decision.
Yeah, the bet is 125 by Darren Elias. Very tough to get away from this hand. Clock is ticking down to 5 seconds, and he's taking more time.
Well, if you're in Benjamin's shoes and you get to the river like this, what hands are you calling with that are better than pocket kings? Like if you're gonna fold kings, what's a better hand than kings that you get there like this and you call with? I'm having trouble finding one.
It's gonna take more time, but it's very tough to lay down this hand. I think 90% of the players would make this call at this point, but he's going to make the good laydown.
Wow.
Look at that. He laid down the kings. Darren Elias picking that one up. What action we're seeing here tonight?
We'll be right back with more from Esports Arena Las Vegas and the WPT Tournament of Champions.
What are you doing?
I'm playing on ClubWPT.com.
Oh, really? I'm playing on ClubWPT.com.
Oh, I'm not playing on ClubWPT.com. I'm crushing it. Play for a share of $100,000 in cash and prizes every month at ClubWPT.com. Phil Hellmuth, the poker brat himself, and self-proclaimed greatest, is standing by to put in his 2 cents in the raw deal.
Sweet! That feeling when you look down at pocket kings deep in a tournament. But what is the best way to play it? David Benjamin, who is known throughout the world as a great poker player, gets pocket kings and opts to just call in the small blind. Like it. With the chip leader and most aggressive player at the table, Darren Elias, right behind him. Of course, David is ready to play a huge pot before the flop. But remember, one of the tenements of successfully slow playing a big pair is you don't lose too much after you let your opponent get there. Benjamin has to be disappointed when Elias did not raise before the flop, but like the consummate professional poker player that he is, he immediately went into a defensive stance. Check calling on the Jack 5 deuce flop, and check calling on the turn. And then Benjamin managed to invoke my aforementioned tenement of slow playing by making a really good fold on the river. Many amateurs and many lesser pros would have called the bet on the river and completely botched the hand. But not Benjamin. Good fold, my friend.
And a tough spot for David Benjamin. Has not been able to get things going at this final table. And when he finally did get a big hand, it didn't even hold up.
Andy's and the blinds are going up, my friend. 8 and 16 and the big blind. Andy right now is 16. Nick Schulman. He is going to look down at the best hand in poker, pair of aces. Jack deuce is awfully good if you're Darren Elias. And he is going to raise it. 32 total. Goes around to Darren.
What you got now?
Roughly 320 to start.
He won't do it. Last victim, Matt Waxman, will stick around with Jack 7. He will splash around. Let's see if Matt gets lucky. Not really.
Check.
King 8-6 on the flop, 2 hearts. Waxy has checked. Shulman with the aces. Gonna bet 35 and hope he gets a call. Now, Waxman is very tricky. Sometimes he just plays strong with a bluff, but he won't do it there. Shulman gonna take that one. It's better than losing.
It is better than losing. And especially at this table where a lot of big hands have been cracked so far.